It's the first road game of the spring season for North Dakota State. The Bison are in Carbondale to take on the Salukis of Southern Illinois. Last week, NDSU opened the conference season with a win against Youngstown State, while the Salukis were up in Grand Forks, and SIU head coach Nick Hill said, "We got our butts whooped." I'm Lee Timmerman, along with Kyle Emanuel. Ryan Gellner will join us in just a few minutes. And Kyle, when we're talking with Bison coaches defensively, Wildcat seems to come up a lot today, doesn't it?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Lee. I think when you look at the Southern Illinois team, a little bit of a question mark at quarterback. We don't know who we're going to see. Is Carlisle going to play? What does that do to their offense? And when you talk to the NDSU coaches, especially defensive coordinator David Braun, the question is, how much are we going to see of this Wildcat? Javon Williams, I think easily we both agree, probably the best player for Southern Illinois on the offensive side. With Carlisle's out, how much do they play him? Do they switch up that package? Does he throw the ball more? Does he hand the ball off more? Or how much is he going to keep it? Last week I thought they kept it pretty simple with that package. UND did a really good job against it. So that's going to be the biggest test, obviously, in the storyline coming into this game.
Well, the Bison are after their 40th straight Division I football victory. If they get it today, that will tie them with the University of Washington with 40 again. That was set back in 1908 to 1914. But head coach Matt Ensel say they're just looking to try to go 1-0 today. It's the Bison, it's the Salukis. It's live, and it's next on the KBOY KFYR Bison Television Network.
Get your horns out! Tailgating in the parking lot. Now that clock is ticking down. The boys are ready to go. The energy in here's electric. Let's get on with the show. Get your horns up. The green and gold are back in town. Get your horns up. Pumped up and ready to throw down. Toss that coin up in the air. Bring the boys up to the line. Hold their horns up high because it's Bison time.
It is Bison time. Welcome again, everyone, to Saluki Stadium, Carbondale, Illinois, where the number one ranked Bison 2-0 taking on the Salukis 1-1. The Salukis beat SEMO back in the fall, their lone game. It was a close game, while NDSU's lone game back in the fall was against Central Arkansas. That was a 39-28 game. That right there is Zeb Nolan, the starting quarterback for North Dakota State. And Kyle, number 8 will not take every snap today. A little bit different. Cam Miller is going to play, or that's the plan to have him play just a little bit because of a running package the Bison want to try and see.
Yeah, and it's clear that Tyler Roll and this NDSU coaching staff really likes Cam Miller. He was brought up week 1. Everyone's talking about Zeb and obviously what he can do, and they have confidence in Zeb as a starter. But we've seen this quarterback run game that North Dakota State is able to do with Trey Lance. We saw a lot of it last year, and it's something I think they go to when maybe they're struggling a little bit. Not that Zeb is bad at it, but I think obviously we haven't seen Cam Miller. I haven't seen Cam Miller play, but he must be doing something well in practice as a young man at North Dakota State, in which they're like, hey, we got to get this guy in the field. And I understand it. Look, we see a lot of teams do it. We saw Youngstown State do it last week with Mark Wade and Joe Craycraft. So we'll see if it can work.
If you're just joining us, you will find out for the first time that Nick Baker will get his first start. Nick is a sophomore, wears number 8 for the Salukis. He is from Rochester, Illinois, and he did play a little bit the last time the Bison were here.
Yeah, and he got into that UND game, and I actually was impressed with his arm a little bit. I thought he had a lively arm. I think when you hear people talk about arm talent, I thought he had some arm talent to him. But his decision-making was definitely questionable. He came in, he's a shorter guy. He came in, he threw a couple interceptions. They already had 3 fumbles lost in the game. He comes in and turns the ball over a little bit more. So I think decision-making is going to be big for Nick in this game, just to see if he can get this ball moving. But we all know Javon Williams will be taking a few snaps at quarterback as well.
In terms of the series, this has been a series dominated lately, obviously, by NDSU. This is the 13th game. The Bison are 9-3. They have won 8 straight. Oh, by the way, the last time that the Salukis won this particular game, there was a certain guy by the name of Randy Hedberg who was the quarterback coach of Southern Illinois at that time. back in 09.
09. Okay, I was gonna say I don't think we lost him when I was here.
No, it was right. It was just before you.
Yep.
That's how long it's been.
Well, and that was kind of in Southern Illinois' heyday. They had a couple good playoff runs there, and they've always had some talented rosters. So let's see if they can come back today and play good here against the Bison.
Reinholtz will get it started, and that looks like a fair catch is going to be made, and it is by Justin Strong. So the Saluki offense will come out on the field to get things started here today. How much will we see number 15 today play quarterback? He won't start the game. That's Nick Baker. But that is one of the major questions, obviously, as this game will roll on.
I don't even see him out on the field right now.
It does not appear that. Looks like Romir Elliott, number 1, will be the back just to the left of Baker. Baker will wing it out left side. It is caught by Cox. He has very good speed, but he's run down after a nice pickup up to about the 34-yard line.
Well, and Lee, in the pregame, we barely even talked about Avonte Cox. We talked a lot about the running game. They have really good weapons out on at wide receiver. And I think last week you saw when they were scripted in this first 15 plays, they were really good in just getting them the ball and letting them go make plays.
A gain of 9 makes it 2nd and 1. And a handoff to Elliott picks up the first down of this game.
Well, and I think you're starting to see it already on this opening drive, getting a little bit momentum for the Saluki offense. And like I said, last week, that was the best drive of the game. I watched almost that whole game. They came out in that first 15 plays, and that opening drive, offensive coordinators always script those first plays. They came out, they were efficient, they drove right down the field, and they scored touchdowns. So this is definitely a talented offense that can move the ball.
We do see Javon Williams in there playing quarterback, a Wildcat situation. Usually it's a quarterback run. Somebody jumped for the Bison, but he gets around Cox, and Williams is going to go long, and it's overthrown, intended for Landon Lenore, an honorable mention All-American from a year ago.
Yep, and that's the other Lenore, the other wide receiver, along with Cox, really talented on the outside. And see, it's offsides on the Bison.
I thought Jazeer jumped in there. It certainly looked like it.
Definitely looked like it. But that was another question, you know, when they bring in Javon and let him play quarterback, how much are they going to let him throw it? Last week, kind of vanilla in that Wildcat package. I thought UND did a really good job against it, so I figured they might switch things up a little bit. And here we see him lined up at quarterback once again.
Yeah, it's Williams back there all by himself. And he will try to follow his tight end, Garrett, but after nothing developed, a little pop pass off to the left. So nothing in the run, but then Williams tried to get the slant, and the pass was a little low.
Yeah, that was interesting. That was almost like a, hey, try and run this ball up the middle. If there's nothing there, swing it out. And I know there are those, obviously, run-pass options. That was a unique one.
Now Baker is back in, and Williams is the running back. Those are some of those checks and things we were talking about in the pregame show as Williams gets the handoff this time. No Wildcat here, but he's across the 45 to about the 44. A couple of yards short of first down.
And that's what we talked about, Jackson Hankey being really good. I think SIU, not crazy tempo, but they are going a little bit faster, and you got to get the call from the sideline. You have to be able to make those checks and get everyone on the same page, and that's going to be a challenge for this NDSU defense.
3rd down and 3. It'll be a direct snap to the quarterback, Baker. Oh, double clap, got the Bison to jump again, I think. Baker comes near side, it is caught by Cox, and did he get the toes down? The answer to that is yes, all the way up to NDSU's 32.
Well, this is just a smart play by Nick Baker. Anytime you get the defense to jump off sides, as you'll see on the Nodak Insurance Company replay, you always got to take a shot. That's essentially a free play. There's no risk there. And does a good job of picking up some good first down yardage.
So Williams comes off. Romir Elliott goes on to the running back position. You're taking a look at a good one. Avonte Cox, he started his college career in Wyoming. And Grant Olson, the Bison linebacker coach, he hosted him on his official visit out to Laramie.
It's kind of funny how football works. It's all interconnected at some point.
6 degrees, right? Sometimes you don't need all
absolutely.
6 of them. It's a 1st and 10 play on the opening drive of the game, knocked away by NDSU. Flying in there, who was that? Braden Williams.
What you taught to
Braden
do.
Thomas, excuse me. I should know this kid. He's from Bismarck. Braden, the senior grad transfer after playing in Mankato.
Yeah, they're just going to essentially RPO, but they're just going to leave the defensive end, Braden Thomas, unblocked. And that's what you have to do. Can't get to the quarterback, get your hands up, don't jump. Casey pump fakes, does a good job of knocking that one down.
Also the first time that SIU on this drive has been behind the chains. It's 2nd and 10. Baker will run it himself, tries to get to the outside, and helmet comes off there. He is popped real hard. That was Josh Hayes that came up with the hit.
Josh Hayes coming in and bringing the wood. We talked about them a lot last week and their willingness to come in and play hard in the run game. And if you're SIU, this is not what you want to see. Looked like a good clean hit too.
And he has to come off for a play because this helmet came off. And that would bring in, does that bring Labanowitz in? Looks like quarterback Stone Labanowitz is out there right now. Labanowitz was the starter at the beginning of the 2019 season, played 3 games and then got injured. Had a great game against UMass in an FBS win. And Stone's going to throw it on his first attempt. A little wide out catch, a little out pattern, caught by Lenore, but short of what I think is needed for first down yardage. We do have a flag down on the 25 far side.
Looks like it's going to be against SIU.
They said it was Xavion Furcon, the left guard, number 59. I think far and away the best offensive lineman that the Salukis have. He is starting for his 35th time in college.
Yeah, definitely. And we heard David Braun talk about him a little bit. But that's one of the issues with these run-pass options. Sometimes as an offensive lineman, you don't know if it was a pass or if they're running the ball, and sometimes you end up downfield a little bit too far.
So Baker has the helmet back on, and he's back on the field. It is 3rd down and 15. That double clap has gotten the Bison to jump a few times, but
definitely a little bit quieter in here than they're used to.
See what happens on 3rd down. Little pass intended for Lenore between his hands, but even if it connects, it's 10 yards or so short. And now you're 4th and 15.
Well, you talked about they did a really good job at the beginning of this drive, staying on schedule, getting in those short 2nd downs and 3rd downs. And that's what you have to do, especially when you're a running offense. You get behind the sticks. And that's a nice job by this Bison defense. They had some momentum rolling, and they're going to be able to get out of this with no points.
Braylon Henderson is back deep. That is Jack Cahoon. He has come the farthest to play for the Salukis. He's from Melbourne, Australia. And it will be inside the 20, down at about the 11, and the Bison offense will come out for the first time in this game. So a decent drive. The penalty helps things stall for the Salukis. And Coach Entz will send the offense out there. Quarterbacked by Zeb Nolan.
Yep, and we're going to see Zeb and see how much they open up this offense if they do anything different this week. I know they kept it pretty simple last week. We'll see what they have to do. Again, depending on how good the defense plays for the Bison, maybe they open it up and pass a little bit more.
So North Dakota State, they place it on the 12, so 88 yards away to start their first drive. Handoff up the middle, Kobe Johnson, and not much there. Hey, let's take a quick pause for a message from Bank of North Dakota.
Whether you're a parent, grandparent, friend, or family member, College Save is the perfect gift for your pride and joy. Now, with more qualified withdrawals and $25 contributions, there's no reason to wait to help save for your pride and joy.
Well, the Bison are going to gain 1 on that first down play. Nolan has Johnson off to his left, all 3 receivers to his right. Nolan's first pass over the middle. Diving catch is made by Rajan Nelson, the exciting freshman from Lakeville, Minnesota. Here is today's starting lineup, brought to you by Shields, and we'll begin with the Bison offense. You saw the offensive line. Hunter Lupke still not ready to go at fullback, so that's Brozio at fullback. Jacob Johnson, Watson. Christian Watson is a definite playmaker for Zeb Nolan and crew, but the Bison did pick up the first down on that first catch by Raja Nelson. Here's a handoff to Kobe Johnson, and he gets pretty good yardage across the 30. Well, what's a successful first down play? If you ask Coach Roll, we'll get to that in just a second. Starting lineups, we'll take a look at the defensive side here in our starting lineups. Again, brought to you by Shields. Agnew should be a popular name. No Tree people should know. Bryson Strong, it's his brother who plays on the offense. Quay Brown, the leading tackler last year, even with NFL guy by the name of Jeremy Chin, playing. He still led the team in tackles.
Yeah, Chin was almost the defensive rookie of the year, I believe, in the NFL.
Looking for some room on the outside. Johnson can't quite get to it, but he does have enough for the first down. So needed a couple, got one more step than what was needed.
And you talked to Lee a little bit. You're starting to talk about Tyler Roll and what's successful on offense. And we talked about staying on schedule. All you need is 3 or 4 yards on offense and the first down, and that keeps your offensive playbook opened up. Second down, you want to get half that to get you an imaginable third down, and I think we saw a lot of that last week. And a little bit more of a simple game plan, but just staying on schedule, staying on the field, and keeping your defense on the sideline drinking Gatorade.
Jalen Bussey is in the I formation right now. The running back, redshirt freshman. Nolan rolls, throws, and hits. Gain of a couple. It's caught by Brozio. Out to about the 35. Hunter Brozio, his first start on the offensive side since I think T. Roll said he was in grade school. That was last week.
Yeah, and Brozio is also, I believe, the backup long snapper. So he's a guy he's always going to be dressed, and now he's getting his chance with Lukey out to make an impact on this offense.
Second down and 8. From the 35, the give. Just a couple of steps there. Not a whole lot, so a third down play coming for NDSU. But first, this from Gate City Bank.
At Gate City Bank, we're committed to making a difference every single day for our customers, our communities, and our team members. This is our team, and this is our field. Gate City Bank, for a better way of life, member FDIC.
6 yards is needed for Matt Entz's offense to pick up the first down here. 3 receivers to the left, 2 to the right. Gindorf, the tight end, in the slot. Nolan gets it blocked away. So Braden Thomas knocks one away from the Salukis. Zeb Nolan on the third down has a man right in his face, and it's knocked away. I think it was Jordan Berner that got there.
Well, it's an empty formation, and I believe the Salukis bring 5 or 6, and you have no one left in that backfield, obviously, to help block for Zeb Nolan. Someone's going to come free. The ball's got to come out quick. SIU does a good job of getting their hands up, just like we just saw with NDSU.
Garrett Wagner is the punter for the Bison. He sends a low line drive kick back to Strong. No, that's not Strong. He's not back there returning.
Javon Williams.
Javon Williams. He returned punts the last time we were here as well. We'll be right back. This is our first commercial break. We're 0-0, 7:23 to play. First quarter from Carbondale, Illinois. Second possession for Nick Hill's offense, and let's take a quick look at our starting lineups on that Salukis offense, brought to you by Shields. We talked about Furkan, the left guard, the best guy in the middle. Of course, we know by now Lyles is not playing. They've used 3 quarterbacks already, but the receiver group, a very good group as Avonte Cox takes the reverse around to the near side. Not much there, and he will go down at that point, tackled by Destin Talbert.
That might have been a first for me, Lee. Maybe I've seen it before. Maybe I think SIU starts to pull a guy one way. You can't see it on this here, but they start to pull a guy when they bring him back the other way with the reverse. Interesting play coming out. It's probably another one of those scripted plays we talked about still in the first 15.
Well, they're trying to get your defenders into a false read, huh?
Oh, absolutely. Because as a linebacker, that's what you're reading. Guys pulling across your face. Sometimes it's just a flash. Guy going one way and come back. That's interesting.
Second down and 9 as Williams will keep on the Wildcat right here. A big pile's probably not going to move very far. It goes to about the 35. That's one thing about a Wildcat situation is the plays, even though he threw off of this, are generally not too crazy, are they?
No, they're fairly simple. Sometimes they'll bring a guy a jet motion with a receiver. Sometimes he'll give it. I did notice in that UND game he kept it quite a bit, and that's why I was kind of wondering whether or not they were going to switch that up a little bit. That's why you usually check on the defensive side. You're going to check to something simple, something everyone knows. Get lined up, play fast.
Darrett and Tucker playing the middle on that defensive line now for the Bison. Here's the snap and the give, and it is a first down. First carry for Justin Strong. Justin Strong is just a sophomore. He moved from the safety position because they needed some offense, a little more help in that running back group. Here's the starting lineup from the Bison side on this defense. And we thank Shields for bringing it to you. Tucker and Ching, McCormick and Pierce, the defensive ends are fantastically deep. We've talked a lot about those three guys in the pregame show. Dawson Weber still nursing his shoulder, probably not going to play today yet. And I don't even know if Dawson made the trip, to be honest with you. But it is a first down play here now for the Salukis over the middle. Nice fire pass there from Baker. He had kind of a small window, but he got the ball there.
Yeah, he did. And NDSU brought both linebackers on that play. He had to get the ball out quick. Some good pressure up front by NDSU. You can see right here, James Kaiser coming unblocked. Really good job by Nick Baker, especially after taking that big hit early, getting the ball out and getting some good first down yardage.
They pick up half of what was needed for the first down. Line of scrimmage to 46. A little swing pass near side to Strong. He's got pretty good speed, and he does pick up the first down from one side over to the 45 here. And the Saluki offense, once again, looking fairly sharp at this part of the field.
Back-to-back pressures for this Bison defense, and sometimes when you do that, especially when you have a guy out wide, you call him number 2 from the sideline, the number 2 receiver. Sometimes the guy guarding him is coming from the inside. Takes a lot longer to get there.
Williams will stay in as the quarterback at this point. I don't see Baker out there, so he's kind of the true quarterback, if you will, even though it's a Wildcat look. He fakes the handoff, spins off one tackle, then pitches it over to Cox, but the Bison have that one sniffed out very, very well. Jackson Hankey on the tackle.
You see some of the ability here by Javon Williams, even though this play doesn't go for a lot of yards. Spins off one guy, makes the pitch, but this is just effort right here. Look how many yellow hats show up to that ball. That's going to be that's always a big thing. Trust me, I was around it. Effort on the defense that can make up for some mistakes. And even when you don't have mistakes, just getting guys to the ball in case someone does miss a tackle is going to be big for this Bison defense.
Hankey, one of the Bison captains this year. 2 yards picked up on that first down, and a timeout taken. Nick Hill takes the timeout. And we will be right back. This is a full commercial break. We're getting toward the tail end of the first, still no score. Well, Nick Hill, the head coach of Southern Illinois, didn't like something on play 6 of that drive, so he called the timeout, brought Nick Baker and crew over to discuss things. It's a balanced formation, 2 receivers on each side, and a handoff right up the middle to Elliott. Up to about the 38-yard line or so. Now let's get this quick message from Bank of North Dakota.
Whether you're a parent, grandparent, friend, or family member, College Save is the perfect gift for your pride and joy. Now with more qualified withdrawals and $25 contributions, there's no reason to wait to help save for your pride and joy.
Salukis 2 yards shy of a first down. And then the ball is on the turf. This should be a false start, shouldn't it?
I would assume so. Blow it dead.
Well, Calvin Francis Jr. is the center. Where's number 65? And he is an interesting story. He's from Turks and Caicos.
5-yard penalty.
An island off
Remains
of
third down.
Turks. And it's an island that Christopher Columbus landed on. I mean, but anyway, the point of the whole thing is he did not know what football was in any way, shape, or form until he moved to Florida to live with his sister.
That is crazy. Yeah, that's a crazy story. Usually you hear that people never played football before, like kickers, punters, you know, they were playing soccer or something like that. For him to be able to come in and center, not the easiest position along the offensive line. Pretty impressive.
He's graduated in 3 years with a business degree. He's taken a bunch of odd jobs. You talk to Coach Hill, he says he's focused, driven, organized, mature beyond years. In fact, he's mature enough to say, I'm not one of the best football players out there, but football has taught me how to keep working hard. And he's the guy that just snapped it on this third down play. Elliott bounces out of the middle, and he gets free over the middle, and he does pick up the first down. Very nice run there by Romir Elliott, a sophomore from Indianapolis.
This is 2 weeks in a row now, Lee, that we're seeing the opposition against NDSU try to run the ball on third down. It's a really good job there by Elliott to just kind of bounce off a few tackles. And they must be seeing something with what, I don't know if it's the way NDSU lines up or what they're doing on third down, but they're seeing something. They try to attack him on the ground. We saw Youngstown try to do it last week. Not as much success, though, last week.
The snap from the 27. Baker looking to throw. Receivers covered very well. Baker will get what he can before he slides down inside the 25 to about the 24.
Well, you nailed it, Lee. There's two deep coverage there. They had two safeties deep, kind of giving some protection to the underneath coverage, and there was no one open. And Baker was just forced to scramble and try to get something. And then once again, you have zone eyes and a bunch of NDSU defenders able to get to the ball there and bring him down.
Yeah, it certainly looked like a home run or nothing pass pattern because everyone was running deep.
Looked like a three-man route.
But Baker was able to get, they're going to call it 3 yards. Back to pass again, trying to step up in the pocket. Flushed again. Chased out of bounds on the far side. To about the 21.
Well, this offense is built to run the ball, and we kind of see why. I think this offensive line excels when they are run blocking, and they have to get forcing these drop back throws. It gets a little bit tough for them, and I think NDSU has to take advantage of that a little bit along the defensive line. I thought they had an advantage there last week. Youngstown tried to kind of get rid of that advantage for them by not throwing the ball a ton. I think SIU is going to do something similar, get the ball out quick, as we've seen early on in this ball game.
It's third down here for Baker in the offense. Elliott is his running back, fakes to him, throws on a slant to the wide out. It is incomplete and trying to hit Avonte Cox. Now this from Gate City Bank.
Teamwork, talent, dedication, leadership. At Gate City Bank, we're committed to making a difference every single day. Learn more at gatecity.bank/community. Gate City Bank, for a better way of life. Member FDIC.
So Baker will be out there to hold on the field goal attempt. They're going to call it a 28 or 29, 30, well, we'll call it 38 or 39 as Gualdoni puts a foot into it. And it is good. So Nico Gualdoni gets the first points on the board, and it gives the Salukis the lead with just 40 seconds to go in the end of our first quarter, excuse me. We'll be right back with the kickoff after this. Today's game is brought to you in part by Shields. Open water is on its way. Make sure you're ready for spring fishing with a visit to Shields in store or online at shields.com. Here's our Bobcat scoring recap. Nick Hill's offense getting the field goal to give his team the lead.
That was a really good drive. I was really impressed, by SIU able to move that ball. And so far, they're beating NDSU at their own game with time of possession, kind of dominating that stat in that first quarter.
This kick heading toward Braylon Henderson's way takes it about the 3. There's a seam for Henderson. He will keep the block, get to the 35. Ball's loose, but the Bison cover it back up. I think that's Pierce that's back on top of it.
Well, avoiding a little bit of a disaster. There's a good return by NDSU, and I thought this was an area SIU kind of struggled with a little bit at UND. But all you're looking for is a seam on these kickoff returns. You see his lead blocker doesn't even know who to block. It's so open. Then the ball comes out. Really good job by who was that jumped on it to maintain possession for NDSU?
I think it's Pierce, 23. Yep.
Yeah, really good job by Jaden. Get on that ball.
Well, it's only a disaster, I guess, if it doesn't happen. So crisis averted for the Bison.
No foul.
There's just 31 seconds to play in our first quarter as Nolan's out there for the second time in the offense. He's looking to load up deep, and it's incomplete. He tried to hit Braylon Henderson. Let's go down to Ryan Gellner. Ryan, take it away.
It is a First International Bank and Trust sideline report. Saluki Stadium, guys, holds 15,000 people. Now, due to the COVID protocols in the state of Illinois, today's attendance is limited at just 2,250 people. Beyond that, media access is quite limited. No one extra on the field. If our cameras look a little bit different today, it's because, guys, there are no cameras on the field either. They have to be elevated, and a statewide mask mandate, as you can tell, in place.
Well, what T-Roll always called the Delta formation, and I believe that was Cam Miller's first snap. Cam is a true freshman from Iowa, and he's in there on this run package, but is it going to be one and done? Yes, so it looks like Miller's going to the sideline.
Bison fans are very familiar with that formation. We've seen that from Brock Jensen, Carson Wentz, Easton Stick, and now Trey Lance, now Cam Miller coming in for his special package, and I think you'll see that a lot. Even if it's with Zeb, I think they're going to be able to do that.
That is our first quarter, so we've played 3, and on the Ag Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard, you see the Salukis with a 3-point lead over NDSU after 1.
It's 3rd and 10.
Well, the first play of our second quarter will be a 3rd down and 10 for North Dakota State. Bison trailing by 3. Zeb Nolan takes the direct snap. Some crossing routes there. Nolan under pressure, and he will try to run from it, and he will not be able to get free. It's Raquan Lindsay, one of the reserve defensive ends in there,
advanced
picking it
business
up.
methods for all your print and document solutions. From multifunctional printers to managed print, ABM has the experience.
Williams is back deep again to get this punt from the Bison, and that was a very good kick. Backpedaling, whenever you're catching it backpedaling, they usually don't go too far forward. There is a flag coming out on the play.
That's going to be a blocking back. Pretty obvious one there by Southern Illinois.
Well, I know punters don't get much credit, but that was a good one.
Yes, it was.
During the kick, blocking the back, return team. Half a distance from the end of the kick. First down, Southern Illinois.
Well, the Salukis will come out on offense after this quick message from Advanced Business Methods.
Trust advanced business methods for all your print and document solutions. From multifunctional printers to managed print, ABM has the experience to keep your work flowing. Contact us today to advance your business.
Baker is back out as the quarterback, and he is going to run for it and not run very far. The Bison swallow him up. The ball comes out late, but I'm pretty sure he was down. That was Matt Shimoleski who jumped on top of it. The right guard, number 60. Kaiser and crew in there.
We talked in the break, Lee. I thought the NDSU defensive line had to do a little bit better up front in the middle. They do a little bit of a stunt. We used to call it an A game, basically manipulating the A gap. Both D tackles twisting, able to come free. I think maybe it was Lane Tucker came free off of it. Did a nice job of stopping the run there on first down, getting the Salukis off schedule.
I see Michael Buteau is in there playing defensive tackle as well. So one thing the Bison have a lot of defensive linemen, and they are not afraid to use them. No gain on that first one. Here's a handoff. The Bison are there once again. Short gain on the 2nd and 10 play.
Braden Thomas again. Having a nice little game for himself early on here. Able to bat the pass down earlier.
Yeah, Braden signed at the University of Mary and then transferred to Mankato. And at Minnesota State, he made his mark. He has 116 tackles for loss, which is a Minnesota State all-time record.
And he's a part of that defensive line that we talk about a lot. They're going to rotate a lot of guys in there, try and keep them fresh. And I think that's got to be an advantage for NDSU in a lot of games this year, not just this one.
Line of scrimmage is the 9. It's 3rd and long. 3rd and 8 here as Baker sets up and connects over the middle. Does he have first down yardage? I think he does, as Branson Combs, a redshirt freshman from Evansville, Indiana, makes the catch.
This is a really good play on the Nodak Insurance Company replay. You can see the eyes of Nick Baker, and this is just a timing thing. And I think Jackson Henke actually had pretty good coverage. He has to be able to guard against that deep route. And when they hitch up like that, if there's timing, sometimes like you hear him say, there's no defense for a perfect throw. That was really good timing, and a nice job by the SIU offense to move the sticks on 3rd and long.
This time he gives it to Elliott, crossing the 20 to about the 22, 23-yard line. Speaking of timing, Kyle, time of possession so far is certainly slanted toward that man's team.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was the story of the first quarter. Southern Illinois held the ball for 10 minutes and 11 seconds, and that's something I know I talk about it all the time. That's something NDSU wants to win every week. They actually didn't win it last week, which was kind of surprising, but it didn't really matter in that game. But they're going to have to get that offense to stay out there because they're going to try and wear down this NDSU defense a little bit, and they got them again.
The double clap, Wagee among others, so it's a free shot, a duck. It's picked off by Dom Jones. Dom,
might as well score with it.
You might as well run it back in, but this will not be your first interception for North Dakota
That was
State.
interesting. I don't know if I've
seen people give up on a play quite like that.
Even Dom knew that was offsides on NDSU, but you just never know, right? I mean, maybe they call something else. You might as well
offside.
Take it back in the end zone.
Defense, number 5. 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down
against the Bison. A couple of them. Wagee's on the near side. I saw Spencer's number. Whoever's playing left defensive end jumped as well.
Yep, and that is not the first time we've seen that. I think that clap is getting to it. It's almost like a reaction thing, really. I mean, they know it's coming, but it's just they're not used to it. It's definitely louder. I always love that about the Fargo Dome. In the Fargo Dome, you can hardly ever even hear the quarterback. All you do is key the ball. Yeah. He's been using that a lot.
You saw Tony Pierce. He is the defensive end on the other side. So you walk off the 5 and makes it 2nd and 2. Baker gives up the middle, and it should be a first down. Well, you know, we were talking about time of possession, but on that last pass, you got him inside the 10. You know, the defense wants to get this 3rd and out and get off the field. Well, the Salukis do a good job of picking it up on 3rd down with the pass. Here they pick it up again on 3rd down with the pass. I mean, those are the types of things that obviously happen in the second quarter, but sometimes you see effects of it later in the game.
Yeah, you really do. You start to wear down a defense a little bit. And even more than time of possession, you start to look at field position. We talked a lot about that last week. But even if Southern can't even get it, because you don't get points out of this drive, if you can just pin NDSU deep and force your defense, who's playing really well, to come out and try and stop them, that's a success also as an offense.
Williams takes this snap, fakes it, keeps it, and goes for another first down. He's up near midfield to about the 46-yard line, and that's the danger of Javon Williams Jr., the sophomore.
See on the Nodak Insurance Company replay, looks like another type of slant, maybe even a pressure from NDSU. They're able to capture him a little bit. Williams was able to find a hole.
Williams will throw out of this one, comes to Strong to the near side, looking for a block. He got one, and the Strong, Justin Strong, up to about the 35-yard line. So back-to-back, impressive big chunk plays here from the Salukis. Now in Bison territory, and it looks like SIU wants to go quick.
Yep, they're showing a little tempo. Williams gets a big run, and I like the play call. Might as well throw it out there. Easy pitch and catch for him. Get it to your playmakers.
Williams is going to run, patient run this time, spins off a tackle from Tucker and gets about 4 or 5 more.
It almost looks like they're giving him, other than that big chunk play we saw, they're almost giving him an option every single time. You saw Avonte Cox there. He was one-on-one. I think Williams has the freedom there, if he sees it, to throw it up to him.
First down pickup of 7, ball on the 28 of NDSU. Salukis working on a 3-point lead. There you see the difference in those first downs. SIU with 9 already. Baker's back in at quarterback. He pulls it and then hits Combs on a slant. Inside the red zone go the Salukis, and after every big play, SIU has tried to go quick.
See on this replay, offensive line blocks it like a run. Nick Baker sees something different. That's the RPO we talk about. And that the thing right there that's really hard as a defense is you freeze the linebackers. The linebackers have to get to their fit, but if you don't get to your fit quick enough, then they run the ball. If you get there too quick, now they pull it and they throw the ball. And that's why offensive coordinators love that call so much.
It's 1st and goal. The ball is on the 10. Baker hands off up the middle. And Williams gets to about the 6 or 7 yard line. Let's pause for a quick message from Shields.
Now announcing the Shields NDSU Coaches Collection starting lineup, featuring gear hand-selected by the Bison coaching staff. Available in-store and online at shields.com. Go Bison!
Pickup of 3 down to the 7. Well, Baker did the quick clap and then checked to the sideline to see if any adjustments want to be made. Williams did switch sides. He will roll to the right. Nothing open, back to the left. Baker still flips it over to Williams. He has Hayes there inside the 5, but outside of the end zone. I tell you, when he first flipped it, Kyle, I thought maybe he was going to get in.
Yeah, I thought so too. This is kind of some unique offense we're seeing on the Nodak Insurance Company replay from SIU. It's a little backyard football. We saw it a little bit from Javon Williams earlier. Now we see Nick Baker doing it. Makes it tough on the defense. You don't know where the ball's going here.
Isn't that the point?
You got me.
Not from a defensive standpoint, though.
No, we want to know. Why don't you just tell us? Where's the ball going?
3rd down and 3. Left hash. Boundaries off to the quarterback's left. Cox will go in motion to the wide side. Handoff to Elliott. He scores. First touchdown of the game. Belongs to the Salukis after SIU scored the first points of the game in the first quarter with a kick. So it's a 9-0 lead for SIU.
Well, we knew this Southern team had talent. I think a week ago that necessarily we're seeing right now that necessarily wasn't them. They got derailed by turnovers early. They were not. They moved the ball early against UND last week, and then those turnovers made it tough on them. No turnovers this week. They surely have found something that they like against this Bison defense.
Gualdoni's the kicker. The hold is down. It is through. The scoreboard goes to 10 for the Salukis. We'll be right back after this.
Welcome back to Carbondale, everyone, and we're going to take a quick look at this touchdown here. You see Lane Tucker and Michael Buto running a quick stunt, and lineman able to come up and capture Kaiser, and Southern able to get in for that first touchdown of the game.
No gain on the first down rush from NDSU. So the Bison have a 2nd down and 10 here behind the chains once again in this first half. It's kind of been a little bit of a reoccurring theme, but it's a double tight end situation here on this set for Zeb Nolan. And timeout, 2nd one of the half taken by SIU.
Timeout. Southern Illinois. Their 2nd of the half.
Still 6:45 to go in our first half, but Nick Hill's defensive staff did not like what they saw there. Let's pause for a quick message from Tobalt Seed.
Tobalt Seed offers the latest in seed cleaning technology to ensure your crop's full potential. Tobalt Seed also contracts, produces, and supplies the finest quality non-GMO soybeans to food manufacturers around the globe. Tobalt Seed, grow with us.
As you're looking at Nick Hill, one of the better quarterbacks who has ever played here. And Kyle, that TOP is adding up.
Yeah, it's a shocking stat, especially I was going to say, we saw a 12-play drive from that Southern Illinois offense last time. That does not happen a lot against this Bison defense, especially not last week. We saw them, other than maybe 2 drives that whole game, play pretty well. But I was going to say, too, you know, Matt Hentzer, you see Matt Hentzer This SIU defensive line, I think they got a little bit of a chewing this week. They kind of gave up a little bit last week, it looked like, in that second half. They're playing well right now.
Here's Miller with that delta. Cam's going to keep it. The freshman comes near side and only gets about 2. This is the package that Randy Hedberg and the offensive staff had put in for Miller. More of a quarterback run situation. And he's run it twice. Not much success either time, and back comes Nolan into the offense.
And the hard part about that, from a defensive perspective, you don't know who's going to get the ball. You see a lot of things flashing in front of your face. You don't know who's going to get it. And I think that's why NDSU has found success with that package before in the past.
Looks like man under, 2 deep. Safety coverage and a give. Nothing there for Ganella. And a defense that last week in the second half just faded is fired up right now. Their offense has given them 10 points, and the defense has made another 3 and out.
Well, you're exactly right, Lee, and you see a little bit of a stunt. I think that is Juwan Blankenship does a really good job. He's just nice little slant there, and he's able to get into the backfield. Like we said, this defensive line did not play well in that second half last week. They're showing up here for Nick Hill in this defense.
Yeah, Blankenship had a tricep injury, and he did not have any live work all spring until he was cleared to play right before the UND game last week.
Well, we can hear it up here. This SIU team, they're fired up right now.
The Bison take the timeout because there were only 10 guys out there on this special teams play.
I promise you, Coach Entz is not happy about that. That's one of those things. If you're on special teams, you got to be tuned in, because a lot of those guys, maybe you're not on the field as much. You got to be tuned in, and when it's your time to get out there, you better be out there.
Hey, now this from Gate City Bank.
Gate City Bank is proud to support NDSU athletics. Back the Bison with the free NDSU debit card, and Gate City Bank will give $10 to NDSU for each card ordered. Visit gatecity.bank/champions to order yours. Gate City Bank, for a better way of life. Member FDIC.
Avonte Cox is back to receive the punt instead of Williams for the first time in this game. The fair catch will give the Salukis the ball back on the 26. We'll be right back as Matt Entz's defense goes back on the field once again after this break. Well, that stat maybe says it all so far in this first half. 180 total yards for the Salukis to NDSU's just 2 yards of play on 13 plays. This will be snap number 32. And it will be a reverse to Cox as he tries to get to the outside. Has a couple of blocks following a big man. Run down from behind. That play I thought was at first going to get more than it did, but the Bison were able to run it down.
Well, it looked like the exact same play we saw earlier, Lee, when they kind of bring that one guy in motion. He starts to full back one way. See right there, 43 SIU comes in one way, comes back the other. Just all kinds of misdirection from this offense right now. Trying to get this NDSU defense on their heels.
Michael Tutsi comes up with the tackle. Cox came up shoeless. There's a good look at Tuts. Very, very good. Preseason All-American. 9 career interceptions already for the junior from Indianapolis. Hand off to Elliott. Tries to bounce it. Wagey and others right there. No gain on that play. Kaiser also there.
Now you start to see a little enthusiasm. So far, a lot of the enthusiasm seen from the Southern Illinois sideline right now. I think this is a big play for this Bison defense to be able to just get off the field. Maybe give your guys, your offense who's struggling a little bit right now, give them a shorter field. See if they can't get something going.
3rd down and 3 from the 33. Ball has to get across the 36-yard line for a first down, which so far in this game, the Salukis have done a good job on 3rd down. Baker's going to throw for it. He's going to throw deep. He has a man, Cox. It is caught at about the 36-yard line. Avonte Cox tripped up inside the 2. But on a 3rd and 3, Baker and the boys go big, and it works all the way down to the 2-yard line.
We talked about Avonte Cox being an absolute weapon. You see on the Nodak Insurance replay, we got an ISO here with Josh Hayes, one of the better, or sorry, I was looking in the wrong spot. Dom Jones ends up on him. Almost looked like, I don't know if it was a pressure, but some of the linebacker, I think it might have been a man-to-man situation there. Nothing underneath for Dom Jones, and he gets beat deep.
You always look at the hips of a defensive back. If his first turn is wrong, he's in big trouble. Jones was in big trouble on that play, but he did keep the Salukis out of the end zone, the long pass play, and it will be a quarterback run trying to follow Strong, but it is Williams stopped. I don't know if he got a half a yard on the play or not, but the Bison keep the Salukis out of the end zone at this point. Clock is on the move, just over 3 minutes to go in the first half.
Is this just a completely different team than we saw a week ago, Lee?
Yes.
A little bit on both sides, but mostly I'm talking Southern Illinois. Against UND, they held it up there a little bit in the first half. But I just feel like their enthusiasm, their confidence, I think they like this game plan.
We're seeing the team that was a preseason pick in the top 25.
Yep, Salukis ranked number 24 last week heading into that game in Grand Forks.
So Baker's going to be up under center from the 2. Baker on a hesitation. Now we'll try to run for it. He runs out of the tackle from Tucker, but losing yardage back to the 5. Nice defensive play. Bison not fooled as Baker tried to hold that ball on his hip.
Yeah, a little bit of everything in this play. Fake the run, fake the reverse. Nick Baker trying to make something happen. This could be a really big goal line stand for this NDSU defense. They got to get something going momentum-wise. It's been on the side of the Salukis pretty much this entire first half.
The Bison were unable to get off the field on that 3rd and 3. Then the long bomb downfield to Avonte Cox has now set up a situation here inside of 2 minutes to go. And the Salukis will call a timeout. That's exactly what they do. Nick Hill uses his final timeout of the first half. Let's take this pause and hear this message from Gate City Bank.
At Gate City Bank, we're committed to making a difference every single day for our customers, our communities, and our team members. This is our team, and this is our field. Gate City Bank, for a better way of life, member FDIC.
Well, we're in one of the situations where NDSU cannot get to halftime fast enough, and the last thing the Salukis want is to take a break.
Well, and the other thing for this NDSU defense, SIU is 6 for 8 on 3rd down so far. I think that's the story of the game. NDSU, 0 for 3. There's a lot of storylines in this first half, but NDSU's been able to get them into 3rd downs. They just can't get off the field.
Logan McCormick lining up on this 3rd down and goal. They'll hand it to Elliott, and he is close but short. About the length of a football. 4th down and goal.
Decision time.
Absolutely, go for it, don't you?
I would. Lucas Davis out there, 74 offensive lineman. He's pointing to the sideline. Hey, let's go for it. 76 there too.
And keep in mind too that Nick Hill does not have a timeout to talk about it, so they'll go to their best short yardage play. Bringing an extra tight end in. And now okay, replay time to see if the ball was indeed short. So this will go up to the booth, and we are the official replay video for the replay crew, which I believe is just off to our right. So set it up again. It was 3rd and goal from the 5, and a handoff to Romir Elliott. Elliott scored the first touchdown. During live action, one of the linesmen said he's about a length of a football short.
And I couldn't tell from here, Lee. I would agree, live, I thought he was down, but there might have been a little bit of a second effort there that we just weren't able to see. He might have been able to get in there.
Okay, after the replay officials look at it, here's your look at home. Nodak Insurance Company replay.
The other thing is, though, with all those bodies.
Oh, there's the ball. Does get stretched out. So, but do we see the knee or anything else?
It's got to be indisputable.
And the guy off to your left, do you see the high guy?
Yep.
Watch the linesman at the top of the screen. He's going to be the one that marks it. He's the one that determines the ball did not cross the plane of the goal.
Sounds like it's going to stand.
But it does give the offensive staff that extra timeout that we said they didn't have, so now they certainly can talk about it. And I have a feeling you're going to see Williams come in as the quarterback. Down the line look, have to break the plane. We can't even see the ball.
I just think it's one of those situations. I think that ref had the best look of anyone, better than the cameras. With all those bodies, you're not going to be able to see that. But, hey, if you're Southern right here, you're a running team. You've been moving the ball all game. Why not go for it right here and really give yourself all the momentum heading into halftime?
Javon Williams Jr., number 15, in there. This is their Wildcat setup. Williams, a big bruiser, 245 pounds. He's going to run right up the middle, dives, and he is in. So on 4th and goal with under a minute to play in the half, the Salukis make good on the long pass to Cox and score it on 4th. 16-0 pending the PAT.
Well, I think what we're seeing right now is a confident football team, Lee. If we take a look at this touchdown here from Javon Williams, seems like NDSU does a decent job along the line, but sometimes it's just tough to account for the guy going up and over. Williams able to do that nicely there for the touchdown.
Gualdoni, the PAT kicker. He's a senior, been around a while. We've said his name a few times and put one more point behind his column. So you see that there on the Ag Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard. It's now 17-0. SIU out in front as we take another look at that 4th down touchdown.
Well, this is that +1 running game we talk a lot about. You're going to see the fullback lead up on Jackson Hankey. He gets a nice block there. And then, like I said, it's just tough to account for that unless you can anticipate it a little bit or your linemen are able to chop down their linemen and you're able to get a jumper as well. Sometimes you get a big guy like that jumping over the top. There is really no defense for it unless you can get penetration in the backfield and not let him jump in the first place.
Well, I'm glad you gave a little credit there to Jacob Garrett, he's called the tight end, but in this case, the fullback. He really did get a nice lead block. Your Bobcat scoring recap: 7 plays, 74 yards. It'll go down as a Williams 1-yard touchdown run, but the 3rd and 3 pass to Avonte Cox is what made all that inside the 5 happen for Nick Hill's team.
This is a little bit of an unfamiliar territory for this Bison team in this 39-game winning streak. I don't know, Lee, do you know the last time NDSU was down 17-0? It might have been when I was around.
I don't know. No.
I think we lost to Northern Iowa 20-3.
I think so, yeah.
So I don't know if that was the last time or not, but
I know David Johnson is the guy that most people think of on that team. But Xavier Williams was the guy that won it for UNI that day. He was the nose guard.
He was a good. He was on my team in that Shrine Bowl. He was a really good player for them, and he made a nice little NFL career for himself as well.
Well, the last few kicks have been short. This one will be squibbed, and it is going to come down to Henderson at about the 17-yard line, and this should be a penalty. He gave himself up, didn't he?
I would think
the knee down, but no flag after the tackle. I thought, well, to me, it looked like Henderson kind of sacrificed him the play, and then he got drilled.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Lee. I thought it was a pretty obvious kneel down. Well, you know, if he was a quarterback, that flag was coming out. Returner, I guess not so much.
Just 52 seconds left here. I don't know if the Bison will get crazy or not. We'll see. Nolan has all 3 receivers to the wide side. Here's a handoff to Kobe Johnson. Johnson stays on his feet, comes near side and rolled. No, he stayed inbounds. So the clock will continue to move up to about the 23.
Looks like the Bison offense going to go a little bit fast. I think it's important for them to just get some type of momentum, even if they don't get points in this drive, just to get something so you're feeling good coming out of halftime.
Picked up 4. Here's Nolan with time. He's going to go on a one-on-one. Back to Watson. Christian knocked away. He had it in his hands, and then James Caesar knocks it away. Caesar, a Division II All-American when he was at Ferris State. And then he started as a junior before a season-ending injury, and here he's making a big play for the Salukis.
Yeah, we'll give credit to James Caesar. I think Christian might have got pulled down there by a face mask. Might have missed that one a little bit. Christian got a little bit away with a little bit of a pull, but that's a pretty obvious face mask. I'm surprised that one wasn't called.
Certainly like the one-on-one opportunity there for Watson. 3rd down and play. Clock starts at the snap. There's 20 seconds left in the half. Nolan will go to the flat to Kobe Johnson, but he could not catch it in stride. It is a 1st down. The clock will stop to move the chains, but Johnson unable to get some momentum up the field on that, even though he made the nice catch on 3rd down.
I think if you're the Bison, though, you're just happy with the 1st down. Like I said, just get something going here. You want to come away with some type of points, but I just think, you know, it's kind of just felt weird. I don't know if flat is the word we kind of throw around a little bit, Lee. Matt Ensign, this NDSU offense and the defense really unable to get things going here in this first half. They'll have to go into halftime and kind of regroup a little bit.
Talk a little bit about that, Kyle. You've been in a lot of locker rooms, and especially in the NFL. I mean, it's just like a flash. The halftimes are short. In college, you have more time to make adjustments. How do those adjustments work? You break up in groups, most teams, or how do you handle that?
Yeah, usually break up in groups. Usually you come in, you'll talk as a defense, or the head coach, Matt Ensign, will come in, he'll say a few words. And then you break up and you really go over what's been hurting you, what's been working, what you think they might try and do in the second half, and really just any adjustments you want to make, whether that's calls or what have you.
Johnson motions back into the backfield. He'll stay in on 3rd down protection. A lot of time for Nolan. Zips the far out. It is caught on the far side by Jacob. Bison pick up another 1st down up to the 48, and the clock will stop at 9.
There's a good confident pass from Zeb. That's not an easy throw, too, all the way to the far sideline. Does a nice job hooking up with Cole Jacob and gets out of bounds, stop that clock.
I know Coach Hedberg was talking a little bit about this week with me about trying to get Nolan to speed up a little bit. Sure. Get to your actions quicker. Get set up quicker. If you're handing it off, do it a little bit quicker. There he had his feet set and really was able to get past and get by some momentum behind that throw. Nolan will drop again. He'll be able to step up again. That is Gindorf. Another 1st down inside the 40 to the 38, but there will be 1 play left in the half. Just 2 seconds to go.
I think this is probably Hail Mary territory. I don't know how confident they are kicking a 60-yard field goal or whatever this would be.
Nope, Jake doesn't have that much speed, and there's only, what do we say, 6 or 7 miles an hour, so you need about a 40-mile-an-hour behind you.
Yep.
Three receivers to the right, 2 tight ends in there. Babbage is the middle guy on the right side. That's where Nolan is looking. It is headed toward Babbage in the end zone, tipped up. Caught, I think. Yes. The Bison catch it. The Hail Mary works. Zeb Nolan and crew get 6 points. Jake Lippy comes away with it. Babbage was able to tip it, keep it alive, and Lippy, the redshirt freshman, slides in there and gets his first NDSU touchdown receiving on the Hail Mary.
How about that, Lee? Unbelievable. As I was watching that play develop, I'm thinking, usually when you get in this situation, you're underneath guys. Eventually you start to carry. They just didn't really carry. They had the 2 guys deep, and they kind of came in late.
All scoring plays are automatically looked at, and regardless of the context of the game, but this is certainly one that will be looked at again with 0 time on the clock. And when the replay officials see what we did, this will be touchdown NDSU. Lippy with a clear catch.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think there's no way he gets up with the ball. It never comes close to touching the ground. And what a shift in momentum. Momentum is, trust me, it's a real thing. You can feel it almost as a player, as a fan, even as a broadcaster. You can feel the momentum. And there was really nothing going for NDSU here in this first half. If they can get this, I mean, that could be, sometimes you just don't know when one play can change a game. You just never know. Sometimes it comes down to a play. You don't know if it's at the end, in the middle, first quarter, whatever. That might be the play that turns this game around for the Bison.
The play will stand. Lippy, yes, indeed, has the touchdown. And the Bison are coming out for the PAT.
Touchdown is confirmed.
And I believe NDSU gets the ball coming out of half. So that's the old 2-for-1 there. You're able to get points right before half. Now you get the ball kicked back to you coming out of the locker room.
Kennelly snaps, Wagner holds, Reinholz kicks, and the Bison have a 7th point on the Ag Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard. 17-7, so the Salukis still with that 10-point advantage. But what Kyle was talking about on that drive is to get something to boost the team, and the Bison certainly got that something on the touchdown pass.
And I was more thinking just maybe move the ball, right, Lee? Get a couple first downs, get some confidence. I think a Hail Mary and a touchdown with no time to go, that also qualifies as a momentum gainer.
Matt Entz is making his way over in the sideline off to our left. Ryan Gellner is hanging around there. And Ryan, take it away. Hey, the coach's team got some points.
Yeah, they sure did. Coach, a frustrating first half, I would assume.
Oh, yeah. Jumping off sides on defense on third down and giving free plays. And we have just yet to create any continuity or consistency offensively. So, you know, great going into half with a touchdown. But we're a long ways from playing very well.
You get the football back to start the second half, so you got to feel like at least momentum has maybe shifted a little bit.
Well, yeah, we got to find a way to stop them and get off the field a little bit on defense. You know, we're in third and long, and we still can't get it done. So we got to come up with some answers, get some energy going.
We'll let you do just that. Good luck the second half.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Ryan. Up next, the Proceed Halftime Report. Ag Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard. We are at the break with the Salukis leading the Bison right now, 17-7.
Welcome into the Proceed Halftime Report. Devin Fry, Beth Houle joining you here. 17-7, Southern Illinois with the lead at half. Not something we say often in Bison football games.
No, I was pretty surprised by this one. The score is about right, but I kind of thought it'd be flipped. So it's pretty surprising for a first half so far. We've got to see what can happen in the second.
Well, let's get into those first half highlights here. A beautiful day in Carbondale, Illinois. Southern Illinois opening things up here in the first half. If we can take a look at those highlights here. There we go. They really start to move the ball.
Exactly. And that's what you have to do with this quarterback. Short, quick passes, get that confidence up for a first career start.
And they start to run the ball, pass the ball as well, start to see a little bit of those options rolling out against the Bison.
The Bison really getting caught with their feet flat in some spots with the read options, the RPOs. It's really starting to affect them.
Ends up in a 39-yard field goal to open up the scoring. SIU opening up that initial lead, and then they're right back to work again as that Saluki defense has held the Bison off the field early.
The Bison not with a lot of time with the ball this game.
And here they are starting to open up some of those bigger throws that maybe we weren't necessarily expecting.
Right, and they get to freeze the defense and then throw a quick slant down there. It'll work every time.
And then there you go, that Wildcat that we were expecting working extremely well for the Salukis again as they just start to march their way down the field.
And this is exactly what it opens up right here. A little RPO and you find them downfield. All you have to throw is 10 yards when you get the defense completely frozen like that.
And so the Salukis start to move the ball again, and then it ends up with a touchdown.
Yep, and that's the exact start that SIU had to be hoping for. A little bit of backyard football there. Gotta love it.
That's what I was saying.
I stole your line.
There we go, running in for the touchdown there. Elliott with the 3-yard score makes it 10-0 SIU as we open up the second quarter here. NDSU versus SIU, the Salukis leading 10-0. Second half here now, Bison starting to get Zeb Nolan trying to run a little.
Get something going a little bit there with the different formations, trying to get that SIU defense to guess. And as you can see, it's starting to pay off a little bit here. It's not right there, though.
Southern Illinois continuing with those big stops. You see Jawan Blankenship there out before the season with a tricep injury. Nothing inhibiting here. Here we see Salukis going over the top for a big 65-yard gain to Avonte Cox. He's caused problems for the Bison all day.
Well, that's what that short stuff does, too. It gets them frozen down low, and then you hit them over the top.
Try to run it in. Bison defense stands tall, but ultimately the Salukis punching this one in. Javon Williams Jr. with that 1-yard score.
You got to wonder if the Bison are starting to figure out the game plan here, because obviously it goes back down to those fundamentals. Stop chasing the fakes, the handoffs, all the fun stuff, the play actions.
Over the top there for the 17-0 lead as the Salukis holding the Bison off the scoreboard. Then the Bison open it up here with just little time remaining. Kobe Johnson there for 11 yards. Goes Zeb Nolan to Cole Jacobs for 13 yards. And then Noah Gendor for 15 yards as they just work their way down the field. Finally getting to see a little bit of that Zeb Nolan throwing.
This could be a good sign of things to come. If they allow Zeb to keep going, keep sending it downfield like that, you got to love it. And then, of course, scores.
The Hail Mary attempt. Josh Babbage tips it. Jake Lippy with the touchdown catch as time expires.
You'd love a good Hail Mary, especially when it's set up like that, where it's deflected up into the air and then someone just comes in and snags it. But no, the Bison needed that score right there. That was huge.
Sending this to halftime 17-7 as we take a look at our North Dakota certified seed producers halftime stats here. 17-7, the Bison with that trailing right now to Southern Illinois. The big difference here, I think, that's really stood out is that Southern Illinois is just dominating that time of possession.
Oh, absolutely. I think they have over 20 minutes, whereas NDSU has under 10. So
and you know, that's something that NDSU traditionally dominates. They lost that battle last week against Youngstown State. Wasn't the difference maker, but it's going to be here, especially into the second half, as NDSU continues to try and play catch up in this game.
Right, and that's how SIU is just establishing control by running the ball at first and then finding things open later. So.
And at this point, all they have to do is just hang on to that football, which is a dangerous position to be in for the Bison football team. 17-7, Salukis leading over NDSU here at halftime from Carbondale. We'll be back and after this break. Welcome back to the Pro Seed Halftime Report. Let's take a look at those North Dakota certified seed producers halftime stats there. You see it, SIU just really dominating on every one of those categories.
Every single one. The passing yards one is insane. Well, obviously the long bomb that it had at the end there, well, that's going to make a difference there. But 158 to 86, that's pretty
sort of
wild.
skewing that a little bit. But again, 17-7, Southern Illinois leading NDSU. That's a look at your North Dakota certified seed producers halftime stats. Let's take a look now at some scores from around the valley. Northern Iowa leading 6-0 here in the fourth quarter now. Illinois State up 17-0 over South Dakota. Panthers with a couple of field goals and a tight one there with the Penguins.
Yeah, that's a thrilling game there at Youngstown State.
Let's take a look at those other scoreboards now. South Dakota State leading North Dakota 14-7 at halftime. Western Illinois leading in that first quarter. The Leathernecks coming back to nearly tie it up there in the second quarter.
A lot of fun games around the conference right now. I'm loving it.
It's a great one to see. That'll do it for us here on your Pro Seed Halftime Report. We'll head back out now to Carbondale with Lee Timmerman and Kyle Emanuel in the booth.
Start of the second half, the Bison trailing 17-7. Just a couple of things to throw out there before we get the kickoff. Oh, let's go to this, the last play of the half.
Yeah, what a player here. And I wanted you to watch number 7 there, Jonathan Thompson for SIU. We're taught a lot when it comes to these Hail Mary situations. You have a few jumpers and you have guys that need to box out. He doesn't box out Jake Lippy. Sometimes that happens. Ball ricochets right to him, and that's what happens when you make mistakes defensively.
Second half starts with Braylon Henderson trying to get to the left side, but he only got to the 13-yard line. So the Bison offense will come out to start the third quarter. If you're wondering, the last time the Bison were down 17-7 at the half, that was to SDSU back in 2017. And the last time the Bison trailed 17-0, well, they had a big comeback. No, that was the game they lost against JMU in 2016. The only time in the last 9 years the Bison have not gotten to Frisco. Well, all the adjustments have been talked about. Now it's time to see if those will work. We're in the third quarter, first snap, second half. Zeb Nolan back to pass, fires over the middle, incomplete, looking for Watson.
I don't know if that was a little bit of a miscommunication. I think Zeb thought Christian was going to keep running a little bit further. Stops the route a little bit short. Kind of fortunate. That one just ends up on the turf, not in the hands of a Saluki defender.
It looked to me like Watson had to decide whether he wanted to stop on this side of the linebacker drop or jump to the other side. Nolan will keep it. No gain. Let's take a look at the quarterback comparison sponsored by the North Dakota Beef Commission, funded by beef farmers and ranchers. This is the first half for Nolan, where he was 6 of 9, 86 yards. And of course, the last 37 of those, the most exciting play of the half, at least from NDSU standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the numbers aren't terrible. They just weren't able to stay on the field enough to get the things going, especially in the passing game.
But what hurt NDSU in the first half is what they face right here. Third down and long. It's 3rd and 12. You need the 19 to stay on the field for the offense. One-on-one on the high side, a little bit of an out. It is caught, but it might have been short of the first down. Lippy, who caught the touchdown on the tip, but one step shy of first down yardage.
Regardless, you're happy. You see in the Nodak Insurance Company replay. Nice route by Lippy. I thought that was even better by Zeb. He had a little bit of pressure in his face, able to get that ball to the far sideline. Unfortunately for the Bison, a little bit short, and they're going to have to punt.
Garrett Wagner, the punter. Ross Kennelly, the snapper. Ross, by the way, they had 142 wrestling victories in high school, but his snap is a good one. The punt is also a good one. Avonte Cox will let this one hit the turf, and it is downed at the 29-yard line. We'll be right back. First time on the offense in the third quarter for the Salukis. When we come back, Egg Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard, SIU by 10. Today's game is brought to you part by Shields. Life is stressful, and Shields is there to help you take care of your mind, body, and soul. Visit us in store and online at shields.com. Strong with the first play of the second half.
Just as strong the ball carrier. Forced out of bounds by Josh Hayes. Along with William McCormick.
Nick Baker, 7 of 10, really efficient, 70% obviously, 139 yards passing. He had the long one down to this guy, Cox, who tried to one-hand it, but Hayes was in good position, and Cox could only get one hand on the ball.
He took a shot there. I think that was Wagey coming off the edge. Talked about the empty formation earlier with NDSU. You see on the Nodak Insurance Company replay, you can see him on the turf in the background there, almost able to complete it to Cox there. Here's hit by Wagey.
There's what you're talking about, Wagey finishing it.
He's not a small man either.
You have to be careful, though, that you make sure you don't pile drive the quarterback into the turf as the defensive end wants to so badly, but hit him hard.
Used to be legal back in my day.
It did. Here's a third down play with a lot of running room for Strong, and Justin Strong picks up the first down. That is the 12th first down for the Salukis so far today.
And once again, we're seeing it again. A running play on third and medium, third and long. I don't know if it's, I haven't been able to see, I don't know if it's a personnel thing. Maybe the Bison are coming into, but clearly there's something that they like. Now you're going to see Javon Williams back at quarterback again.
So Williams is there with Strong off to his left. Williams did throw a pass early in this game, but that's the only time he has attempted it. This will be a running play from the big man, and the pile moves to the 45, and that's about where it stops. Gain of 2, probably 2nd and 8 coming.
Jasir Cox making a nice play in the backfield. We said his name a lot last week. Thought he played a really good game last week. And you know, Coach David Braun talked about challenging him a little bit. You know, he thought he played well, but he thought there's little things, the intangible things that he thought Jasir can continue to grow at. And I just think he's gonna keep getting better and better in this NDSU defense.
For the first 2 games of the year, Cox is 3rd on the team in tackles, had 12 coming into this one. Now you can hear the Bison making the adjustments as Baker comes back in on a 2nd and 7 play. And a handoff again. Nothing happening, but Strong breaks out of it initially, still on his feet. Well, he earned those couple of yards he got there.
Yes, he did. And that's the effort we talked about earlier. Sometimes you're going to miss some tackles. You see on the Nodak Insurance Company replay, a couple Bison defenders, like Josh Hayes got in there first, unable to make the tackle. A couple other guys miss it, but that's why you have effort. And you still see, I love to see it, four hats there around the ball.
So Derritt and company will go off. The Bison will make their substitutions. Bring Tucker in, and Wagey moves from defensive end into defensive tackle on this 3rd and 5 play. It'll be a pass. Baker to the wide side, incomplete. Tried to get Cox, but Hayes was right there. The best cover corner on NDSU's team, one of the better ones in the nation right there, number 7.
Nick Hill not happy about that non-call. Still giving it to the refs. You'll see on the Nodak Insurance Company replay. I thought it was a good no call. I think there was a little bit of hand fighting. I think receivers get away with it way more than the defense ever does. I thought it was a good no call and really good coverage by Josh Hayes.
Defenders are allowed space out on the field.
They are allowed to hold their ground. Sometimes we forget it. They're allowed to use their hands a little bit too.
Cahoon to punt. Fair catch called for, and it's over the head and it bounces into the end zone. So the Bison will have it on a 1st and 10 after the punt goes into the end zone. NDSU still down by 10 here in Carbondale, Illinois.
Teamwork, talent, dedication, leadership. At Gate City Bank, we're committed to making a difference every single day. Learn more at gatecity.bank/community. Gate City Bank, for a better way of life. Member FDIC.
The Bison get the ball in the flat with room to work for Christian Watson. And Watson, a dynamic runner after the catch, picks up the first.
Well, that's why you set up plays specifically for Christian. He actually started that play in the backfield, swing it out, and it's just one-on-one. And say, hey, here's one of our best guys. Let's see if you can bring him down. He's a dynamic athlete. Does a really good job of picking up the first down.
Pickup of 12 on the pass play. Nolan up under center. Jalen Sundell will snap this ball to get the play started. A play fake in the background. Nolan wants to go screen backside, but nobody there. In fact, I think Kobe Johnson was already ridden all the way out of bounds, so there was no eligible. He was in the area, but not eligible to catch it.
I don't know. Yeah, it almost didn't know who he was throwing the ball there to. It thought it had a wheel route. I think that was Gindorf. SIU bringing a lot of people in the box. You can tell there was an emphasis this week after what UND did to them last week. Hey, we're gonna do our best to stop the run here. I thought that this D line has really responded well.
I know T. Roll, the offensive coordinator, talked with Nolan about just not forcing stuff, try to take what is there. Here's a handoff, little duck under and a 2nd and 10 play, gain of a couple, but he did not want Nolan to try to force things if it wasn't there. Just take what the defense is giving you, and I think that's maybe why he hung with that little swing passer that longer than maybe he would have otherwise.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think, as Zeb progresses, and look, I never played quarterback, but I know there's progressions, and I know sometimes you get locked into a guy, especially when that's your first option. That's where the play is all designed around. Sometimes you have to get to that 2nd or 3rd, and I think that's something that'll come along for him.
3rd down and 8. Lippy motions to 3 receivers on the wide side. That's where Nolan's looking, flushed a bit. Goes to the Lippy. The Lippy came from across the formation, caught it, but he will be short of the 1st down.
Southern brings 4 there. See on the replay here, they're just going to bring 4. I get a ton of pressure, a little bit on Zeb, but everyone has zone eyes. You can see there in the background, some of the DBs, they have zone eyes on Zeb. Unable to get through with his legs. They do a nice job of keeping him short and getting off the field.
Looks like Williams is back to receive punt formation.
Javon Williams back to receive.
Garrett Wegner, the punter. Here's the 4th down boot. Fair caught and dropped and then covered. So your Ag Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard shows it 17-7. Salukis lead NDSU. SIU with the ball when we come back. Zeb Nolan communicating with the coaches up in the booth. He has the headset on as they're talking things over, but right now Zeb can do nothing but watch his Bison defense try to get the ball back. Salukis with that 10-point lead about halfway through, and they hand it off to Elliott. Really nice close. I think that was Dom Jones, wasn't it, making the tackle?
Yep.
Yes, it was.
And it takes 11 to stop the run. Sometimes that means the safety has to come up and make a play. She brought a little bit of a pressure there. Jasir coming in. Dom does a nice job of getting him down. Big drive here for this NDSU defense.
Baker to throw. He has a blitz in his face, and it's still caught by Lenore. It was a duck. It was hanging up there. Talbert didn't know the ball was in the air. And it was a completed pass. This is where there is no beauty points in football, because this is not a beauty, but it does connect.
No, absolutely not. And this is the advantage of being able to run the ball a little bit. They get, you know, one of their best players, Lenore, out one-on-one. Destin Talbot, a really talented player, unable to get his head around. Sometimes those back shoulder throws, you're not expecting him to go there. Those are really hard to defend against. Like you said, it wasn't a pretty pass, but it ended up in the right spot.
With credit to Baker, it had more spiral on it than at first thought in live action. There's Baker under pressure, but he does connect again. On target, it's Lenore. Back-to-back catches. Nice job by Nick Baker, because a man was coming down on him hard.
When we're starting to see these wide receivers come alive here for Southern, you're going to see Lenore again working one-on-one. Looks like some type of zone coverage. And I think Baker got the corner there. Josh maybe to suck up a little bit. But these two didn't do a whole lot last week. They were trying to run the ball. They had some quarterback issues. Corey Lyles was in and out, and then he was out. I think you're seeing a confident Nick Baker right now compared to what we saw last week. I told you I thought he had a good arm. I thought he made some poor decisions last week. It looks like he's playing really confident.
There's Williams back in that quarterback spot. He's only thrown it once from this. He will not run it on this play, and he will not gain anything.
It's kind of hard as a defense to kind of get into a rhythm. You have a true quarterback in, then you bring a wild quarterback in. It's kind of hard to get into a rhythm. You're always on your heels a little bit, especially when they start moving the ball. I think every drive kind of has its own momentum. The game obviously has momentum, but I think every drive has its own.
There's a good look at Tucker and Henke as they try to stop Baker in this Saluki offense. And it's a handoff to Strong, and he goes nowhere.
Well, they moved the ball a little bit so far, but NDSU has been stout against the run so far this drive. Now comes a question. We've been seeing it a lot, these 3rd and longs. But I think at this point, keep those receivers going a little bit, don't you think, Lee?
Well, they went to Cox early, and now the last 2 big passes were caught by Lenore. Should give a little shout out to Michael Buto, who was in there on that last tackle, but it is 3rd and 10 from the 39. Baker straight back, and he goes down. Logan McCormick around the right corner. Puts the quarterback down all the way back toward midfield, and the defense gets off the field on that sack.
I think, yeah, NDSU only brings 4. They do a little bit of stunt. This is just all Logan McCormick saying, hey, I'm going to get off the ball. And you can tell, offensive lineman there for Southern, he knows it. He just got straight beat. Just a nice speed rush, little chop rip, nothing fancy to it. That's the advantage we talked about early on in this game, Lee, that I thought, I think a lot of teams are trying to neutralize. When you do have to drop back, that's the result of getting a team off schedule in 3rd and long, not being able to do what they want to do.
Snap is a good one. Punt is a short one. Henderson will let it hit at the 10, take a bit of a Bison bounce, and NDSU will have it 1st and 10 from the 15. But first, this quick pause from Bank of North Dakota.
We encourage you to keep education expenses and student loan debt down. One way to do this is by earning college credit by taking dual credit or AP classes in high school.
So Logan McCormick's sack for Matt Entz's team gets the offense back on the field. They did mark it at the 14 instead of the 15. The Bison starting deep in their own zone. Little handoff. Not a whole lot there for Kobe Johnson. Well, I'm still thinking of Logan McCormick. If you don't know, I want to throw out there, I think his high school has one of the best nicknames in the country. It's from Kimberly. The Papermakers.
Kimberly, Wisconsin, right?
Yep.
I believe that is the also the alumni of Colton
Eagle. It is.
Yep.
There's Logan. I always liked that, the Papermakers.
That is a great nickname. Is it better than the Leathernecks, though?
I said high school nicknames.
I know.
Don't make me choose.
Fair enough.
Gain of 1, 2nd and 9. Here comes a corner blitz. Nolan gets it away, but nobody's there, because that is what SIU is really kind of known for, a boundary corner shot at the quarterback, and that's what they had called.
Yeah, we talked a lot about that in the pregame. They do a nice job of getting pressure, and I think they haven't been getting as much with that four-man rush as we see on the replay. They're just going to bring a corner blitz. And you see Cody Mack try to get out late there. Sometimes that's the hardest blitz to see coming because it comes so wide. And
so far out of your field division.
Yeah, exactly, and you're never going to account for that guy. Sometimes that's where the running back has to come in and pick something up like that, especially maybe if you have a slide on or depending on the protection. That's a tough one to pick up, especially when you have a 5-step drop or a deeper pass called. You have to hold the ball a little bit longer.
Bison still looking for the first down of the second half, and we got 4 minutes left to go in the third quarter. NDSU will need 9 yards to pick up that first down. Need to get up to the 24. Out of the gun. Good time for Nolan, looking at the cross, and he finds Christian Watson. There's that first down up to the 30, across the 30 to the 32, and the Bison offense stays on the field.
Really good throw here by Zeb. See him surveying the field a little bit. Looked like SIU was just kind of dropped back. You can see them kind of in a zone coverage, just reading his eyes. Christian Watson able to sneak in behind him. That's not a guy you want to lose track of very often.
Nolan hands it to Johnson, and the running game is more of a stall game. It has not gotten into a running situation. Very many positive yards today. Now this from Gate City Bank.
Gate City Bank is proud to support NDSU athletics. Back the Bison with the free NDSU debit card, and Gate City Bank will give $10 to NDSU for each card ordered. Visit gatecity.bank/champions to order yours. Gate City Bank, for a better way of life. Member FDIC.
Watson comes in motion to make it a 3-receiver set on the near side, the wide side of the field. 3 on the snap to snap it. That one's tipped. It floats high, intended for Gindorf. No chance there for Noah as a tip sent it sailing.
I just keep coming back to this SIU defensive line. They were making plays 7 yards down the field as we take a look at this last pass from Zeb. Just hit him right in the head.
That was Anthony Knighton, number 11. He has started every game. He has been here in a Saluki uniform. This is game number 37 in a row. He's third all-time in sacks. Well, he didn't get pressure on the quarterback there, but he did disrupt the play to make it 3rd and 11. Handoff, Ganella. Dom Ganella trying to force his way across the 40. He stretches. Did he pick up the first down? It is so close. Yes.
Yep.
Dom Ganella with power from the freshman picking up the first down.
I believe this is the first time we've seen Dom. I liked what we saw from him last week. I think NDSU going to try and get going a little bit fast here. But a professional athlete in baseball making a nice play here on the gridiron.
Here's a handoff to Ganella again. He can runs right into Bryce Notree. Tied for the league lead and team lead in tackles. Notree, number 54. He's a senior. He's been around a while.
And I started talking a little bit about it, Lee, but these guys were making tackles 7 yards downfield as a D-line. And it's not like they were chasing people down. They were just getting drove off the ball, especially in that second half. We have not seen that at all today.
Little quick. Oh, Watson tried to make a move, but he forgot to catch the ball. That was Caesar out there on his coverage. But Christian Watson with a flat drop. You'd call that a drop. You don't see that very often.
Just a little hitch route, soft coverage.
Did you see how his head turned?
Yep. Well, I think he knew, he obviously knew that James Caesar had eyes on him and he was going to have to make a move quickly, and sometimes you just forget about catching the ball first.
Well, don't stop me if you've heard this before, because we've said it a lot today. It is 3rd and long once again for NDSU from their own 45. 4-man rush. Nolan has plenty of time. Fires over the middle, and it's caught. It is a first down to Josh Babbage.
Really good play call right there, and another confident throw from Zeb to kind of come down into a bunch, set closer to us. I think maybe just a little bit of confusion on that back end of the SIU, but Babbage sitting right in the soft part of that zone, wide open and able to move the sticks.
Josh from Barrington, Illinois. He was also an all-conference basketball and volleyball player in high school. So now the Bison offense churning out a few back-to-back first downs. Nolan on the play fake, looking deep. The ball's on the field. It came away, and it looks like the Salukis are on top of it. The quick change is pulled in by the defensive play, Jordan Brenner. Or Burner, Jordan Burner, excuse me, number 92.
Well, he has man open, but this is some of that pressure we talked about. I don't know if I think that's a corner.
It is a corner blitz.
Or a safety blitz there. Men open downfield, but Zeb just never sees him. We talked about the blind side in the opener, the pregame show. Miniok from
Clayton, it's Clayton Bush, I believe it is, number 0, who made that.
Oh yeah, Clayton Bush.
So Clayton Bush knocks it free, and Burner jumps on top of it. And the Salukis defense, right when NDSU's offense was starting to really look the most solid it has today, and there's the turnover.
That was the Achilles heel of SIU last week, was the turnovers, and NDSU unable to force one last week and still unable to force one this week.
And they'll start with Williams empty. Usually Garrett comes in to block, and that's what he does. He motions in from the tight end spot. Not much there. Hanky around the ankle of Williams. Under a minute to go, third quarter.
Well, and this is going to be, I know they're all going to be important at this point, but especially given the momentum back to the Salukis, if they can keep them here at midfield, maybe even force just a field goal. They got to do something here to help out this offense.
Baker gives it to Elliott, spins to about the 47-yard line in Bison territory. And the Salukis do not have to snap it if they don't want to here to end the third. And I don't think Nick Hill is going to.
I wouldn't.
He's going to take as much time off the clock as possible with his team leading. So the Bison offense turns it over. We'll start the fourth quarter when we come back. Ag Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard through 3. You see it right there. Southern Illinois leading NDSU 17-7. Today's game is brought to you in part by Shields. Get back into the swing of things at Shields. They've got the top golf brands and custom club fitting to take your game to the next level. In store and online at shields.com. We start the fourth with a 3rd and 6 for the Salukis following the turnover. Baker looks, takes a shot deep to Cox, and it's there, up to about the 20.
Well, good call, Lee. We talked about it in the break. If you're Southern right there, why not take a shot? As you see on the Nodak Insurance Company replay, these wide receivers having a really good game. Just get him matched up on a linebacker before Dom Jones is able to come over the top with the safety help. That's a really good ball by Nick Baker. Hold the safety's eyes. Sneak it in there before he's able to get over there.
And is there a penalty somewhere because the ball is going closer? I missed the flag. Let's see if we can pick it up. Oh, the roughing the passer was the call. So you tack on roughing the passer. Look at this from. Oh yeah, Pierce. So that takes the ball all the way down to the 11.
Told you those quarterbacks would get the call.
Well, Williams is there at quarterback now. He's 245 pounds. He can handle it. And Nick Hill will take the timeout. Did not get the look he liked as the play clock was running down to 1. And Southern, obviously, after this quick change, doesn't want to squander this opportunity. We'll be right back. 17-7, SIU leading. Okay. I take that back. We'll stay right here. We're still early in the fourth quarter. Very early.
This feels like a very, very big moment in this ball game. I just think the way, NDSU struggled a little bit offensively. If you can keep it right here at 10, if you're the NDSU defense, obviously that still gives you a good chance at this ball game. You get down 17, that becomes that's a big mountain to climb in this fourth quarter.
SIU from the 11, so it is a 1st and 10, not a 1st and goal. Baker hands off to Elliott. He gets it down to the 6. Now this quick message from Bank of North Dakota.
We encourage you to keep education expenses and student loan debt down. One way to do this is by earning college credit by taking dual credit or AP classes in high school.
There you see the ball on the 7-yard line. 2nd down and 6. Early in the 4th, but you can tell SIU is trying to milk as much time off this clock as possible, working with a 10-point lead. That's Cox in motion. There's a throw on the slant, and that is a touchdown to Lenore. And the Salukis get 6 more points on the board here early in the 4th, and they make the Bison pay for turning it over.
Well, you're exactly right, Lee. That's what you have to do with turnovers. You got to turn turnovers into points. They get a good field position. See the touchdown here. Just got to line up. That's just an easy pitch and catch. That's a tough play with nothing underneath. And those linebackers, they have to respect the run. They've been running the ball decent. You have to respect that, and that's when you get them fight up. Now you're just one-on-one.
And the extra point is through to make it 24-7. The home team on NDSU's first road game is leading the Bison big. We'll be right back. Well, Matt Ence's team down by the score you see right there. There's 13:41 to play in this game. That is Raja Nelson. He is back deep along with Braylon Henderson to receive this kick. Nelson, a freshman from Lakeville, Minnesota, went to North High School. Mr. Football finalist in Minnesota.
They could use something big here. Get a little bit of momentum for that offense. They're not even giving him a shot.
Nope. There's a cover up at the 19-yard line. Let's take a look at that last touchdown.
Yeah, let's go back and look at this. I think you see all these linemen right here. They're all just going to go down, down, down. And for these linebackers and these back guys now, they have to start moving these gaps, and you have to respect that run. And then when we roll it, now you're going to see all of them come down, respect the run. Now you just get the ISO up top, which is exactly what Southern wants. That's a tough play on Jaden Price.
So the Bison take over 75 yards away from the end zone. And Zeb Nolan will hand it off to Kobe Johnson around the right end. There is some space out there across the 30.
24, Kobe Johnson, the ball carrier.
Here's your numbers for Zeb Nolan through 3, brought to you by the North Dakota Beef Commission, funded by beef farmers and ranchers.
I think some Bison fans want to see the offense open up a little bit more from last week. And I think they're going to get their wish right here as the Bison down 17 late.
And there's a pick, underthrown, interception. It is Roderick Campbell, thrown right to him. The senior corner with the interception. Back-to-back possessions from NDSU, back-to-back turnovers.
I think he just stared him down a little bit too long. I don't know if there's anything special going on with the coverage. I think that Roderick just...
Campbell. Yep.
Yeah, I think Roderick Campbell just had good eyes. You can see the frustration from Zeb. Hey, that's on me. He'll get another chance.
Now the Salukis offense now with another chance. And it's the shortest field, shortest field of the day here for the Saluki offense, the 30. 35, excuse me. And another penalty. I did not. The referee's microphone has not been sharp today. We didn't pick it up, but this is going to go all the way down to the 13.
I didn't catch that either. I'm not sure what happened there.
Well, Campbell's interception and subsequent penalty. Coming off a touchdown drive following a turnover. Well, goes without saying, it's a tough spot for the NDSU. And they'll throw out into the flat. It's caught by Cox looking for a block. He gains of about 4. We are told that it was an unsportsmanlike penalty on NDSU following the change of possession. So that's why the ball ended up down at the 13. Now it's at the 10.
These are the weapons that SIU has, and this is the reason why they were preseason ranked number 24 for the first time in a long time. They have some weapons on this offense. I think it's more so just getting them the ball sometimes. That's why obviously we see Javon Williams line up a lot in the Wildcat, but now you're starting to see Lenore and Cox get involved even more in this game. I think those two are really special, and they've proved that today, and they've shown it.
Well, they switched out the football. That's why the play was stopped there. So now here is Baker. Nothing there first. Now he'll swing it out to Cox. He's one-on-one, makes a spin move on Hayes. Close to first down yardage. Down to about the 3, and I think he picked up the first.
And he took a shot at the end of that play.
Oh, Avonte Cox holding his right knee. He's the transfer from Wyoming, who has had some big plays today, especially that long pitch and catch in the first half. Here's the tail end of it. Nodak Insurance Company replay.
I think it's Kaiser there coming in. I don't know if that was the hit or if it was Josh Hayes holding him up at the bottom or what, but just hope that young man's okay.
The Salukis do indeed pick up the first down, so they have 4 downs to try to get 3 yards to try to build more on the scoreboard advantage that SIU has right now. They'll throw for it in the corner, incomplete. Tried to get Lenore one-on-one with Hayes.
Saluki sideline asking for a flag again.
Not a big crowd, but at this point, a loud crowd.
yes, they are. They, I don't think they're accustomed to seeing this very often. Number 1 team down 17. You see, hard to tell from there, but.
But we will say a capacity crowd, given the COVID numbers that are allowed in the state of Illinois right now. Season ticket holders and students. 2nd and goal. Williams is in there at the quarterback spot, Wildcat spot, whatever you want to call it. He's going to run it. He has some room back to the outside after the spin, and the big man tries to drive in, and he does. Turnover, touchdown. Turnover, touchdown. That's the way it's gone for each team the last 2 times that they have had the ball.
It just kind of seems like one of those days for NDSU as we look at the Nodak Insurance Company replay. I mean, this is why he's so talented. This is why he's special. There was nothing in the middle. He comes out with a little bit of a spin move. And I think he just kind of got lost in the pile, and no one really saw him break out to the edge there.
Well, Gualdoni adds the extra point. He got the scoring started for SIU with a field goal in this game, but since then it's been touchdowns, and it's up to 31. So it's 31-7. NDSU trailing with 11:42 to play on your Ag Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard. We'll be right back. But your Bobcat scoring recap is going to be as short as that drive. Just 13 yards, 4 plays. Williams gets the score.
And I know I keep talking about it, Lee, but I just can't get over the night and day difference of this Southern Illinois team from last week and really for NDSU as well. We talked about it in the pregame. You know, what are we going to learn about both these teams from week 1 to week 2? You know, NDSU was really clean last week. They played a really good game. The coordinators told us about it. Southern, obviously, the complete opposite. It's been a different story today.
Here's Rajon Nelson taking a pretty good pop at about the 30. And actually, I think the two Salukis may have hit each other harder than they hit the ball carrier. But nonetheless, you probably heard the pads pop, and that gets the sideline fired up. Kickoff team. Didn't you love that, huh? You did it for quite a while.
I did it pretty much my whole career. I actually did it. I finally got off of it my senior year at NDSU, and then in the national championship game, I don't know, I can't remember what it was, but I found myself back on the kickoff team. And then obviously in the NFL, I just couldn't escape it.
Well, Zeb Nolan will try, if he can, to wipe the image of his last pass out of his brain as he comes back on a 1st and 10 from his own 30. Little swing pass, and it's a good one to Kobe Johnson. Has room to run afterwards, and he gets all the way up to about the 46-yard line. Nice job after the catch by Johnson, and a patient throw too.
Yeah, really good job by Kobe. I believe this is just a little bit of an angle route. Yep, you can see 31 over commits it. I talked about it last week. That's one of the hardest routes to cover man-to-man. When a running back comes out, you got to cover the flat. Nice job by Kobe to be able to come open for Zeb and move the ball a little bit.
31 is Bryson Strong. It's his brother, number 5, who plays on the offense. Good time for Nolan, going deep but overshooting everyone. Lippy was the intended receiver, but that ball sailed just a little bit. James Caesar in coverage.
I think we're gonna see a little bit more of that coming down the stretch here. NDSU gonna have to take some shots. Gonna have to take some chances. Try and get something going here against the Southern Illinois defense that's been not very kind to them today.
But talk about like Tyler Roll's job as the play caller. What a tough day, because a lot of the stuff that he's been trying so far has not really worked. So he throws it out in the flat to Bussey, who's dropped right there. That's No Tree making the tackle.
Yeah.
But as a play caller, what do you go to when what you've done hasn't really worked?
Well, and that's the hard part about it, Lee, because you obviously make in-game adjustments. We see Zeb with the completion there to Jalen. You make in-game adjustments. You have things you like going into the game, and when those stop working, your players lose a little bit of confidence. Now you just searching for something to hang your hat on that you can use going forward.
SIU rushing 4 again. Nolan has time, and he airmails it over Lippy. No chance on the connection.
I think
Pass
that
was high all the way.
I think that was due to the rush there. Zeb unable to set his feet. I think that was 58 Chucky Sullivan getting in there at the end. Has time initially. Oh yeah, that's actually my mistake. I just looked back and saw Zeb on the ground. He had time there. Just unable to connect.
Wagner in punt formation. Williams back to receive it. This one comes off his foot very nicely, but in the end zone. So it'll be a 1st and 10 from the 20 for SIU when we come back. But the Salukis have been owning this game, especially the second half, leading it now 31-7. David Braun is the Bison defensive coordinator. He's in the middle of that group talking to his team. With still over 10 minutes to go, but the Bison defense will need to get something turned over, you would have to think. And I think we'll see quite a bit of that from Southern Illinois. Just a simple handoff up the middle to Elliott, who picks up maybe a yard.
Yeah, and Lee, I guarantee you, Coach Braun and saw Coach Grant Olson in there. They're preaching right now. Hey, we need the ball though. It's not good enough to just get a 3 and out right here. Let's try and get a turnover. Let's take the ball. Let's go score for ourselves. Just trying to muster up some type of energy, some type of momentum for this defense to try and get something going.
Hand off to Elliott. He'll try the left side. He does gain the edge up to about the 26.
Elliott, the ball carrier.
I thought Lenore threw a pretty good block out there.
He did. I don't know if it was a hold or not.
Until the flag hits, it's a block.
You know me, Lee. I think everything's a hold. But that's, you talk about the edge of a defense, there was none there for NDSU. And Elliott able to get to it, get some nice yardage, set up his short third down.
Third down. Salukis need the 30. And Elliott will try again, and he was able to get enough to pick up the first down. As they move the chains, let's take this quick break and hear this from Gate City Bank.
At Gate City Bank, we're committed to making a difference every single day for our customers, our communities, and our team members. This is our team, and this is our field. Gate City Bank, for a better way of life, member FDIC.
Well, the Bison won't be back until Gate City Bank Field for another couple of weeks. It's at Springfield. Look at that SIU offense. 368 yards on 62 plays with 8 minutes to go. Hill swings it out near side. Nice block on the edge. This is Isaiah Hartup. And the freshman from O'Fallon, Missouri, another first down.
Well, they're just doing a good job of getting out to their playmakers. You know, it's kind of an extension of your run game right here. Like, hey, maybe something's not working up the middle. Let's just get a quick out, get it to our playmakers, and see if we can make someone miss. And I don't notice Luke Wirtz is in there. I don't know if something happened to Jackson Henke or not, but he's no longer in the ball game as far as I can see.
Or it's a situation of just taking some snaps off of Henke, knowing we have the spring season and you have the fall coming up. That was Luke Wirtz right there, number 47. Luke is a sophomore from the state of Illinois, playing in his 15th game here for the Bison. But it is a first down run for SIU. Lost one.
Lane Tucker doing a nice job of getting in there, I think. You know, Lane was a guy that David Braun brought up early on and just saying, look, we have a lot of defensive ends that we like, and we like to bring them in and do different things, but Lane's going to be a guy that's going to be hard to take off the field, and I think he's earned that right to stay in first, second, third down regardless, and we saw it last week. I thought he played really well last week as well.
Lane is from Gillette, Wyoming. He's a junior, the Wyoming Defensive Player of the Year his senior year, a 3-time All-State offensive lineman, a 2-time All-State defensive lineman. And this is a fake. It tipped, but I still caught. Well, when it's your day, it's your day. Because I don't think that pass was clean all the way to the receiver. You pick up the catch and you pick up a first down.
Yeah, and this is what we've been seeing kind of over and over. They run the ball a little bit. Now you see in the Nodak Insurance Company replay, we're going to do another fake. See how it affects Tutsi right there? And Kaiser still able to get a hand on it. You just keep talking about it. They suck up that underneath coverage, and now you get one-on-one with some of these big bodies.
And Combs, 6'3", redshirt freshman from Evansville. Evansville's where Southern Indiana University is. And now another pass and a catch by Lenore up to the 40, maybe not all the way to the 40. I tell you, the biggest thing right here, though, for SIU, those seconds are ticking off the clock.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, Lee. They're already into 4-minute mode at this point in the game where you're just trying to burn as much clock as possible. And we saw NDSU get into that last week, but it doesn't always just have to look like you're just going to run the ball all day. You run the ball a little bit, you mix in a couple passes, and the main thing is you stay on the field, like you said. They are burning some clock. They don't necessarily even care about points at this point.
Nope.
They're just trying to get as many seconds off as they can.
Yeah, Nick Baker's offense has scored 31, and here's Strong. I mentioned number 31, Strong in the defense. Well, this is his brother who makes that carry.
He's had a good day, too.
I think he's a good-looking player. 6 foot, 215 sophomore. I mentioned he started his career as a defensive player, moved from safety to running back. And he also returns kicks and some of that stuff.
Him along with these receivers, Javon Williams, they've done some good stuff.
Well, when you're milking the clock, you don't snap it till it's under 5, and that's exactly what Baker and company does here. Throws a little pass into the flat. Hardup gets past one player and picks up another, or one defender, I should say, and picks up another first down.
Oh, that was one that you probably have in the high school playbook too. Just nothing fancy about it, just a simple rub route. You're going to see right here, you go up, catch him man-to-man, bring one receiver up, run one to the flat, run a little sprint out with the quarterback.
Isolate the linebacker.
And just continue to move those sticks. Just because it might be a high school route doesn't make it easier to defend necessarily. I'm not saying that, but.
Here's a handoff to Elliott. Hayes is in on the tackle, but the pile moves up to about the 20. Let's check this out from Gate City Bank.
Teamwork, talent, dedication, leadership. At Gate City Bank, we're committed to making a difference every single day. Learn more at gatecity.bank/community. Gate City Bank, for a better way of life. Member FDIC.
Well, you can see the scoreboard in the upper left or in the bottom of your screen. Take your pick. It says 3:25 and counting left in this football game. It's NDSU's first road game of the year. And this is going to end a 39-game winning streak as the Salukis have 31 points to this point. Might be more. Elliott to the corner. He makes a dive for the pylon. 6 more. That's Elliott with a touchdown run for SIU.
Well, like we said, Lee, just one of those days. I think it's just a little bit of a case yet. I think you see some young guys in here for NDSU not to make any.
Look at the left hand of Elliott. It's all bandaged up. In fact, he had a bigger cast last week. He was not cleared until the day before the UND game. And here he comes out today, has a little smaller cast on there, and he scores a couple of touchdowns.
And I kind of thought maybe he was the reason they had 5 turnovers. Initially, you turn on that game, you think, well, he can only carry the ball in one hand. That kind of affects it. You always want to keep it in your outside hand. He did a nice job of hanging on the ball in that game. And we're seeing what he can do here today against the Bison.
Now, the replay booth is going to see if Elliott did get the pylon. And as we mentioned earlier in this contest, all scoring plays are reviewed. Some just are a little more simple than others.
Well, Lee, when you look at the stats, I'm trying to pick out which one is the most eye-opening. And I think just right off the bat, I'm looking at 34 rushing
yards on what, 18 attempts?
On 18 attempts compared to last week's 240, I believe it was.
Well, look at the rush. Tell me how many the Salukis have at this point, and I'll remind everyone how many they had last week.
Well, they have 160 currently.
That's 150. That's 99 more than they had last week. They only had 61 yards rushing last week.
It feels like more almost to me. I mean, I know actually, but I think we talked early in this game about how they're a running team. And I think the touchdown was confirmed. We talked about how they were a running team, and they really, I think, mostly beat NDSU through the air. You know, Javon Williams broke free for a couple there in the Wildcat, but for the most part, I think these receivers, Lenore and Cox, have really been the difference.
It is a 31-point advantage for Southern Illinois. Well, off the top of this, what do we say that Nick Hill, as we take a look at their Bobcat scoring recap, and a nice 11 play, it's an 80-yard drive. The biggest thing there, though, 7 minutes and 18 seconds as Elliott takes it the final 20. But the scoring recap obviously has been in favor of SIU. But off the top, last week, Nick Hill, the head coach, was very blunt about it. He said, we got our butts whooped last week in Grand Forks. The message obviously was taken care of, or however you want to put that.
Yeah, I think these guys took it to heart. I think And I don't know if these words were thrown out or not, but we talked a little bit about it. It looked like they quit a little bit.
Yep.
And trust me, as a football player, that is the last thing you ever want to hear. And I think if they kind of drilled that into the heads of their players this week, I would take that personally. And I think they did. I think they looked at the film. They didn't like what they saw, more so than just execution. Sometimes I hate being coached on effort. I don't think that should be something you ever need to be coached on. And when that's something that's brought up, I think these guys took it personally, and they turned it around in a big way here today.
This one is heading toward Nelson. Raja with a fair catch. So the Bison offense will only have 3 minutes, 30 seconds. But oh, that scoreboard hole they're in now is a nasty one.
Yep, not a lot you can do at this point. I don't know. We're going to see Cam Miller maybe see what he can do behind center. At this point, nope, Zeb going to come back. And I actually like that call. I think, look, we all know it hasn't been the best game for anyone. But kind of like I talked about going into halftime, sometimes you just want to get something good. Get a good taste in your mouth leaving this game, even though obviously the scoreboard's not going to end up in your favor.
Had the only touchdown in the last play of the half on a Hail Mary for NDSU. Good surge up to about the 32-yard line for the Bison here. But first down success has been something that has really not been a part of this game today for NDSU.
It really hasn't. When we talked to Tyler Roll, we talked about offensive success and what that means. It's not always points on the scoreboard. He talked a lot about the word efficient, came out of his mouth a lot. Being efficient, getting on schedule.
Bussey's got a chance to break a big one here. Jalen Bussey cuts back on the angle all the way down to the 5.
Well, that's pretty efficient. Could use a little bit more of that early.
Yeah, makes the rushing numbers look a little bit better, but it also gives you a glimpse of what the raw talent that Jalen Bussey can bring to the table.
Yeah, it just seems like he gets one of these every single week. When we first saw him last year against Western Illinois, he showed us what he can do. And we haven't talked much about Seth Wilson and his injury, but Bison fans are well aware of what happened to him last week. So Jalen's going to be thrust into a bigger role. And it's just a little gap scheme. You're going to pull offensive lineman around, kick him out. You're able to get to the edge, and it's off to the races.
Well, not only did you pull an offensive lineman, you pulled your center. So look at that.
Yeah, you're right.
That was Jalen Sundell, number 72. Very few people on the planet are able to snap the ball and get out and lead that. That is something that the Bison are going to build on. Look at, he rode his guy all the way into the NDSU bench.
Yep, that was something I think Coach Entz talked about it. I think Coach Roll talked about it a little bit, but just you see Sundell right there, 72, pulling around. And you're right, Lee, you don't pull centers very often unless they're athletic enough, let alone a guy who hasn't played the position before this year. I think he's really impressed these coaches so far, and
that was
able to show it out here.
Mikel Calhoun, number 8, the field linebacker, who is being helped up right now. He's a junior. Third on the team in tackles. He was trying to make the tackle on Bussey, and another guy from his own team kind of
friendly fire.
Yep.
You'd be surprised, Lee, how many times injuries occur. Well, actually, you wouldn't be, but some people might be surprised at how many times injuries occur from your own guys. I've seen it far too many times. Unfortunately, it's a part of this game.
The previous play, a name who was in on it, I just want to bring up Keenan Agnew, number 56 for SIU. If that last name sounds familiar with this program, it should, because his brother is Malcolm, who played here, and he's coaching at UND, and his brother Ray had a run in the NFL with Cleveland, and his dad, Ray Jr., works for the LA Rams.
Pretty good bloodline right there.
Well, the Bison trying to pick up a touchdown here, and they'll quarterback run it. Zeb Nolan gets the 6 with 2:16 to go. So Bussey's long run down to the 5 sets up an NDSU touchdown.
Saw Logan Hofstad. I think, I don't know if that's going to be something more we see in the future. Logan Hofstad listed as a fullback. the lead blocker here. Some of those running backs going down. I think you might see a little bit more out of those fullbacks, but it's good to see, just good to see Zeb get in the end zone, I think, right there.
I know one thing T. Roll was talking about with Hofstad is he wants him to be a little bit more firm on first contact, and there he was doing that and making the tackle. So the PAT is through. NDSU has 14 points.
And it's a position group, Lee, the fullbacks, tight ends that are coached by the offensive coordinator. I think they're always going to be asked to do a lot, and I think they should. I think it's a talented group. I think Tyler Roll expects a lot out of them, both when it comes to blocking, producing offensively, yards, touchdowns, everything. They're going to be asked to do a lot, and hopefully they can get involved a little bit more.
There hasn't been a lot of tight end targets, I don't think, so far in the first couple of games.
And part of that's due to, especially today here when we talked about being efficient, they just couldn't get on schedule. They couldn't get much going running the ball. I think they were, like we talked about, a little bit of inexperience in the secondary. Thought there were some chances to get them the ball a little bit more, and I think moving forward, they'll have to be a part of it.
I'm just looking at, you can tell what's spinning through the head of Michael Tutsi right here. One of the better defensive players for NDSU. He's a starting safety. His dad's a coach. He grew up around football. He's from Indianapolis. He's a preseason All-American, has 9 career interceptions, and he plays on a defense that is simply not used to having what happened today.
And I can almost just see exactly what he's thinking right there. It's just, I bet you he's just going over a play or 2 or 3, 4, 5 maybe in this game, but you just look back on everything and you just wish you could have done things differently. And sometimes you've had 39 in a row go your way, and sometimes it just doesn't happen.
Branson Combs is the guy who covered that up. You can see Nolan on the offensive side and Tutsi continue their conversation.
You can start talking at this point too, just moving forward for this Bison team.
All right, I'm just going to, before you go to that point, what do you think when you see 53? Because if people don't know, that was Kyle's number when he was an All-American and Buck Buchanan Award winner here.
It's a little bit weird. It is, because you watch film for so long, you see 53 out there, but we got the Eli Mostert. Yep. I wish him the best. It's still good to see it out there, It's still living on.
All right, sorry I interrupted you.
Oh, you're
Continue
good.
On with your point, sir.
Well, I was just talking about moving on, and I think, when you've had such success at NDSU and you're just so used to winning, you're used to winning national championships, you won 39 in a row, sometimes you can be a little hard on yourself, and I get it. Trust me, I was hard on myself as a player, and I know these coaches, everyone's going to be hard on themselves, and they're going to wish they did things differently, but sometimes you just have to let it go, and you don't let the same team beat you twice. There's Pierre again. PGT, as he was known as.
Brought his 4 national championship rings, and at halftime, when Beth and Devin were talking back at the studio, SIU fans were coming over asking to get pictures taken of the 4 championship rings. It'll be 3rd down and 1.
Good to see him here. He was here last year, or I guess you say 2019. I remember he was on the broadcast and living in St. Louis now, and I think he said he was coaching high school football, doing some financial work, and good to see PGT. There's the rings.
Now here's a shot from halftime. Here's what we were talking about at halftime. Yeah. Here's that picture we were talking about.
They probably don't have, I don't think they've seen 4 rings before.
And Strong trying to pick up the 1st down. I think he did. So there should only be, well, there should be no more snaps if this is a 1st down. Well, it's going to be a 38-14 victory for the Salukis. Notri and his defense did a number on NDSU's rushing attack.
That they did, and you got to give Nick Hill credit. We've said it enough, but just to be able to bounce back from the kind of week they had last week and to go Not only do you have to bounce back, you have to play the #1 team in the country, 39-game winning streak, team you haven't beat since 2009. He did a good job of getting his team prepared today.
So the Salukis add win number 2, their first of the spring. SIU beats SEMO, which is Southeast Missouri State, if you don't know what SEMO stands for. That was back in the fall, their lone game in the fall. And then after last week's humbling loss, the Salukis team certainly righted the ship and came ready to play and played well today, scoring 38 points and getting 14 points off of turnovers, and really at that stage of the second half eliminating any chance that NDSU had really to win the game.
Yeah, you said it. Turnovers bit them a little bit last week. That was really I don't want to say the only difference in this game, but that was what put this game away for sure. When NDSU still had a chance, a couple turnovers changed that really quick.
Most football programs have what's called the 24-hour rule.
Oh, yeah.
When the game's over, you got 24 hours to celebrate a victory or get rid of a defeat.
Yep.
And I tell you, the next 24 hours for that team in in Maroon is going to be quite the celebration, I think.
Yeah, and just like we talked about NDSU being able to get over this loss, SIU, you got to celebrate it. Always celebrate the wins. I mean, you can never take winning for granted. We talked about that a lot when I was a player at NDSU. We were winning a lot, but you don't take it for granted, because as we see today, it can be taken away very quickly. So it's just as important for this Saluki team to celebrate this, appreciate it. But this is still just the second game of the season. Well, third game of the season,
yep.
And they gotta move on and play the rest of this Valley schedule.
Well, same will be said for NDSU. Yes, you take the loss. You congratulate your opponent today. You give them kudos for the win, and then you move on. Ryan Gellner will probably have conversations similar to that with Coach Entz. Ryan?
Matt, that one's tough to swallow, I assume.
Oh, definitely. You anticipated playing better, having more sense of urgency. I'm going to take as much blame as I need to. We need to be better prepared. And I don't know if we were prepared on all 3 phases today. So we're going to go back and we're going to practice. And like I said, I don't think this team's done getting better or improving, but we better find some answers.
How long do you let this sting? Do you want this to sting with your guys?
We need to. There's only 2 kids on this football team that have ever experienced a loss. So they all need to know how it feels a little bit. Sometimes, we think because we wear the green and gold that we're not supposed to lose. And that's part of reality, is you don't show up and play against a good football team, or you look at scores and think, it doesn't matter. It'll catch you, and it did today.
Thank you for taking the time.
Hey, you bet. Thank you.
Guys, upstairs.
All right, thanks, Ryan. We knew pretty much the message that Coach Entz would be saying, and that's exactly, you don't pull punches. Just like Nick Hill last week when they got drilled, did not pull punches, and NDSU today did not play well, and Coach Entz is not going to pull punches either.
Well, yeah, I think he hit the nail on the head right there. You can't just roll it out there, right? Just because you're NDSU, you've won all these games, you can't just roll out there and expect someone's just going to hand a win to you. And kind of a crazy stat, only 2 guys on this team have experienced a loss. So, yeah, let it sting a little bit. Let them know how this feels, and hopefully it doesn't happen again to them.
So the final score again, 38-14. We will roll into our post-game show when we come back. Salukis victorious at home. Well, the only stat they say that really matters is the final score, and that stat today is Southern Illinois 38 and NDSU 14. Well, Ryan Gellner did some quick work as we take a look at our stats here, and our stats are brought to you by the North Dakota Certified Seed Producers. And obviously, when the scoreboard is lopsided, Kyle, the stat sheet generally is as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and we were talking about it during the broadcast, and I didn't know which one to look at. The rushing yards obviously looks better at this point with that long run by Jalen Bussey. I thought the passing yards would even be more lopsided, but plays. Just look at the number of plays that SIU had, and then that time of possession. First downs also. I think those last 3 are really telling of how this football game went. And obviously the complete opposite of, we just don't see this happen to North Dakota State ever. And not until, I think you were just, not since 2005 have we seen something like this.
Yeah, Ryan was doing a little research, and during that break, kind of called up to us and said in 2009 there was a game that NDSU played against Cal Poly that was 37-6 at that point. But until what you just witnessed today, that was the previous kind of worst loss since, so to speak. So the Bison, for all the things we've already talked about, it's the post-game show. We will rehash the game, but it's going to be the same theme. NDSU severely outplayed today.
Yeah, and I talked last week about a formula, right, that NDSU uses. They run the ball. They control the clock. They play good defense. They try to wear out the other team's defense. Well, they just got that script flipped around on them today. Southern did a really good job of holding onto the ball. Even when they didn't score, they moved the ball. They won the field position battle. They won the time of possession. I don't know. It was kind of shocking to see, obviously, not only the score, but just from what we saw from both teams last week, it was just completely different.
Yeah, it was the we're living in opposite land today, right, based on what happened in week number 1. Well, speaking of that first half, let's take a look at some of those first half highlights. And in that first half, I thought SIU just did such a fantastic job on third down, especially, of staying on the field. Here's Justin Strong getting one of those first downs.
Yeah, they really did, and Nick Baker did a nice job of getting the ball. And this guy right here, Ramir Elliott, I thought he played really well, even with only one hand, able to carry the ball. And they start off the game with a field goal and got the momentum really going in their favor early.
Yeah, first score, you always want to have first score. And this is a drive that's way back in the 10. And here's another first down pickup. That was Combs, who's had some big plays in this game today. And then, of course, the Wildcat, if you will. And that is Javon Williams getting it done on the ground.
And I thought NDSU actually played the Wildcat pretty well. I think that was the biggest run that we just saw right there. And then Javon Williams actually completed a few passes, too, out of it. But we saw a lot of this, a lot of run-pass option, a little bit of backyard football. Are we going to run it? Are we going to throw it? And they would just sling it up. They have some big targets out there. And I thought Nick Baker played a really good game today.
Yeah, Baker thrust into the start for most of the week. Obviously, SIU knew he was going to start before they were telling anybody else. But Baker was the reserve. When he came in last week in Grand Forks, and again, we'll mention that, quite frankly, he didn't play well. Today, he played very, very well. He put the ball in catchable positions. Again, first half highlights you're looking at right here as Elliott scores the touchdown. First of a couple touchdowns for him today. Here's Cam Miller.
Yeah, and this is something we talked about in the pregame, Cam Miller having a package, but SIU's defense, they just weren't giving up a lot in the running game, and until that last play, really, of that last drive when Jalen broke free, there just wasn't a lot of room for a unit that last week I thought got pushed around all over the place. You know, credit UND's offensive line, but I thought they got pushed around last week.
But how the first half, emphasizes the second half. Here's a big play down to Avonte Cox, takes it all the way down to about the 2-yard line, and then Williams will finish it off for another touchdown. But this first half certainly influenced the second half because that defense, again, was just on the field forever.
Yeah, they really were. They wore them out a little bit and really did a good job of moving the ball on the ground.
Well, we'll take a break right now. When we come back more in the post-game show, we'll meet our player of the game and get a conversation with him from Saluki Stadium right after you see this. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Carbondale, Illinois. From an NDSU perspective, probably the most exciting play of the day, the last play of the first half. The guy who made that catch is standing by with Ryan Gellner.
Yeah, and Jake Lippy is our Nodak Insurance player of the game. Jake, we just showed the touchdown, so let's start there. Pretty funky way to catch your first touchdown career pass here at North Dakota State.
Yeah, definitely. It's something that we practice every week, just the Hail Mary, and I was just in the right spot at the right time.
Losing is never fun, but I would assume there are some lessons here today that I assume Coach addressed in the locker room. What did he tell you guys?
Yeah, definitely. We just got to come out and play every single game because we're everybody's Super Bowl. And we came out slow, and we just got to prepare better for next week.
You're a redshirt freshman. To come into this and be a part of this, I assume there's a lot of pressure on you guys, especially a guy that jumps right onto the field. Talk about the pressure, and does that play into wins and losses at all?
I don't think so. I think the older guys definitely prepare us very well.
Christian, Zach, Cole, and Phoenix do a great job with us, at least receivers. And no, I wouldn't say there's much pressure because we go over everything each week. And so when we get to the game, it's just like another practice.
How hard is a game like this to flush and just simply move on?
It's going to suck. It's going to suck for a while, but got to get over it and move on to the next week.
Like I said, losing isn't easy. You can learn lessons, and the good news is there is a next week.
Yes.
So in your mind, obviously, that's exactly what you have to do, is get ready for next week.
Exactly. Just got to prepare better.
I appreciate the time, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Guys, I think we can actually do that. Appreciate it. I'll have you hand the microphone off to Michael Tutsi, who was the defensive star of the football game today. 6 total tackles for Michael. I don't know how we start this because these aren't easy to talk about, but get outplayed today. They just were the better team today.
And you said it best. They out-executed us. They outperformed us. They played harder. They wanted it. They earned that win. As simple as that.
I watched you on the sideline towards the end of the game, and it looks like you were just almost overcome with emotion. Like this thing just got away, and it snowballed, and there was nothing you could do.
Yep. I mean, absolutely. I mean, we just didn't. We got to execute. As it's a team loss. Everyone played a part in it. We all just have to do our job, do our 111th, and execute. We can't just roll the helmets out and expect to win just because we're the Bison. It just doesn't work that way.
Is this a chance for you to step up? You've been a leader, but have even more of a leadership role after a game like this?
No, absolutely. I think we have to. The way we respond is going to define. Is going to not define us, but will show a lot about this team. You know, we have a lot of young guys. You know, they're probably looking to me and other guys like Josh and Hanky and a lot of the great leaders we have on offense and defense. We just got to show them how we respond and move on and play the Bison way.
The defense was on the field for almost 32 minutes. I don't want to point fingers at the offense, but at the same time, it's tough to be out there for that long.
For sure. Like I said, it's a team win. You know, regardless of how long the offense has us on the field, we're out there and we need to execute and get them off the field. That's our job, and we didn't do that very well at all today.
Like we talked about in the previous interview, the good thing about sports is there is a next game.
Absolutely.
You can look forward. There are things you can do to get past this. Talk about that.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. You said it best. We still have everything in front of us, all our goals. You know, to still win the Valley, if there is playoffs, get to the playoffs and win national championship, we still have all that ahead of us. We just need to take it 1 week at a time. Like I said, we can't just roll the helmets out. We got to execute and put the work in.
Tuts, this is not easy to do as a player, I'm sure, but I certainly do appreciate the time. And talking about the wins is fun, but sometimes we do have to talk about losses. Not very often around here, but we do have to talk about them, so I do appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
Guys, Michael Tutsi kind of showing that head on his shoulders, and we'll see what kind of a leadership role he takes. And if the Bison can get things turned around, we'll go back upstairs to you.
Thank you very much, Ryan. Talking with Jake Lippy and Michael Tutsi here on our post-game show. The lights are on, but the game is over, and SIU picks up that 38-14 win. That's your Ag Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard. We'll take a look at some of the second half when we come back. Well, it is the spring, so it won't be long before all those trees you see in that picture will have leaves on them. So at least we're inching toward a little warmer weather, but it was a cold reception that the Bison got in this game today. At halftime, NDSU was down 17-7, but in the second half, you were kind of waiting for something to get rolling for the Bison, and it did for a while until these things happen, and these things are turnovers.
Coming off the Hail Mary out of halftime, you thought maybe they'd get something going, and then these turnovers really were kind of not the difference in the game, but they really pushed this game over the edge.
There was a pass after that turnover to Avonte Cox, and then Baker on a little one-on-one gets Landon Lenore on Kyle. You drew that play up. That was well designed, moved the defense, got the touchdown, and points off of those touchdowns was 14 points today as the Bison come back on the next possession, and you just can't say other than that was a poor pass by Zeb. He knows it, everyone else knows it, and it led to another touchdown.
Yeah, he stared him down just a little bit too long, and then they come back out and they get it to Cox and Lenore. I mean, those are two names that we were calling all day. They really showed up in this game after not doing a ton last week. And then obviously this guy, Javon Williams, we all knew about him coming into the game. I thought, he did some good things for the most part. I think if you're NDSU, you're somewhat happy how you played against him, but they just couldn't contain these receivers and Nick Baker. And for some part of the game at least, the run game did get going a little bit for the Salukis.
I mean, Javon Williams is a sophomore only, and it seems like he's been been around forever. And another interesting quirk of just the way COVID has been in everybody's lives and changed everything. NDSU was not supposed to play Southern Illinois this year.
Right, that's true.
Indiana State opts out. They reshuffle the schedule. NDSU ends up, instead of being at Indiana State, they come to Carbondale, and then the Salukis put on with defensive coordinator Jason Petrino a very nice job. This is the bright spot in the second half as Jalen Bussey takes this one, turns it up, turns on the speed.
Yeah, and I hope they can use this moving forward. I think at this point, Southern and even NDSU had some backups in, so I don't know how much stock you put in that, but at least they were able to move the ball a little bit and finally get Zeb into the end zone running the ball.
Yeah, Hofstad with a nice little block there. Nolan gets in for the second touchdown. The Bison had one TD in the first half, one TD in the second half, but way too little, way too late in terms of this 38-14 victory. So, well, that'll just about do it here from Carbondale, Illinois. We will put this one in the books as the Bison now, as you take a look at the schedule, to go along with, this is the conference schedule in the spring. There is one win on there that belongs to Central Arkansas, so NDSU is 2-1 overall.
Yep, and they have to head to Missouri State. It's not getting any easier. I know Missouri State's kind of struggled a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's on the road, and it's never easy to go on the road, especially in the spring when who knows what the weather's going to be like.
That's a 2 o'clock Central Time kickoff next week, 1 o'clock for the Farmers Union Insurance Bison football pregame show, and for the second week in a row, the Bison will have to deal with a Petrino. Jason Petrino, the defensive coordinator here at SIU. His cousin Bobby Petrino is the head coach at Missouri State. So for Kyle Emanuel and Ryan Gellner, Beth Hool, Devin Fry, and all of us and our great crew here from Carbondale, I'm Lee Timmerman, thanking you so much for watching today. But the Bison lose for the first time in 40 games. So long from Carbondale. We'll see you.